Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
I mean, I wouldn't try to argue with that guy. If he called you shit, your name would be shit. So you just go by whatever Thomas calls you.
Next time you're on, it's about a 30-minute drive. We got to get you in studio because something tells me that would be completely electric.
Yeah. He's back!
Don't have no single digit and be terrible.
That's right. Cold. You gotta be cold. My dream is to get back to the NFL. You know, I played with the Los Angeles Rams in 2019. No, stop, McNuggets. No, don't go too far. Hold on, you ain't skipping this. Where the hell McNuggets come from?
Now that's an intro. That is an intro. Woo! If you missed his first appearance on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, fear not, because Boogie is back. This time in the building.
Thank you guys for having me.
Boogie Roberts.
I made y'all a promise. Told you I was going to show up.
You've got notes and everything.
I'm prepared. Let's go.
You're going to be in for the whole 2-hour show. Are you a huge sports fan?
Absolutely.
Baseball, football, basketball. What's your best favorite sport?
Football, basketball, baseball. 3,
nice.
2, 1. So we'll go down.
So we're going to have him for 2 hours, and I think this is going to be a regular deal. I told him last week when he was in, I think everybody agrees, he's like Warren Sapp. He's like, I don't want to say mini Warren Sapp because there's nothing mini about you, but you're like Warren Jr.
Yeah. In the sense of when it comes to personality, yeah, we're kind of the same.
And we like that.
Can we get a sap off between G and Boogie?
He's going to beat me. He already know the voice. Y'all not finna set me up. He already got the voice down. Pick somebody.
He takes off the glasses, puts in the dip, and widens the eyes.
You see how they did this already? They already got the brothers fighting again.
That's right. Pit them against each other.
You're a Crip, you're a Blood. Go.
They already took
I just
They said you was running a little late. I was going to take your job. I'm like, no, that's my guy. Why they trying to give up your seat already, man?
Hey, man, listen, I'm just trying to get this. This is affirmative action seat. How I got this job. I said, how many black people you got upset? I said, I'm your first one. Let's go.
Well, Boogie, we're glad you're here.
Thank you, guys.
How'd the game go over the weekend?
How many topics we got? Next time. We came up short again.
Are you still in recovery mode? Like, how long does it take for your body to sort of bounce back?
Probably about 2 days. So tomorrow I'll be good. Like, my hand and stuff was hurting a little yesterday, but it's feeling a little better. But then you came and shook my hand with that firm grip.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I might be out a couple more days. I'm gonna blame Jay. So
go get treatment.
If the trainer asks why you're out 2 days, I'll blame Jay. So
yeah, it's my fault. I'll take the hit on that.
Yeah.
Busy show. We're gonna get Boogie's thoughts on everything that's busy for us in the sports world. Cavs. They're at the end of the plank. There's no space left. They've been in this hole before, but that was 7 years ago and LeBron was on the roster. Right. So can they dig out of this 3-1 hole? By the way, the same 3-1 hole that the Bucks find themselves in against the Miami Heat. We'll talk Cavs. We'll talk NBA playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, it's official. I was surprised after it took this long that the deal happened before the draft. Everybody thought that it would happen when the draft was over, but it's a done deal. We'll talk about that. Does this legitimately make the Jets a playoff contender? Because I think everybody's inclination is to automatically put the Jets in the playoffs now that Aaron Rodgers is there. They're an up-and-coming team, good talent both sides of the ball. We'll talk about that. In fact, we got a fun hypothetic. Jets or Browns, which one has a better chance of reaching a Super Bowl? And if your answer is no, that's fine. Neither.
Chiefs.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Did the Chiefs get moved to the NFC? I don't think so. So we'll talk about that. Also, Manny Ramirez, later this summer, the Guardians announced yesterday they're going to induct him into the Team Hall of Fame. I think that's appropriate, but one of the questions that was really bouncing around yesterday in sports circles, Should the Guardians retire his number 24? We'll get into that. We'll have that debate. I'm sure you have plenty of thoughts on that. You can share them with us. I'm sure we'll be reading some of those throughout the show. Meantime, 3-1 hole, guys.
Whoa.
Whoa.
You take off one day and you forget about Bulls bet.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Bad job out of you, sir.
Yeah. First of all, what's his record?
Bull went 1-1 yesterday. He is now 13-7 on baseball bets. So
Wow.
he is
That's pretty impressive.
Almost 2 up, and today he's going back to the baseball well with his Bet Rivers bet of the day. Hey, Ohio, Bet Rivers Online Sportsbook is the place to be for every single game. Now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportsbook because if you use deposit code SPORTS, you receive a second chance bet up to $500. You can get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and hockey to help you win big. Check them out at betrivers.com or download the BetRivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts. Bull won on the Braves run line yesterday. He is going back to the well, taking the Braves, giving a run and a half against Miami. They won by 11 yesterday. He is hoping to do the same today. And one thing Jay forgot to tease up here, we got a brand new game segment later in the show.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Do we want to explain that now, or are we going to hold it?
Nope. We're going to hold it till
But
about
Boogie is the
12:35.
centerpiece of this game,
Boogie
right?
is the centerpiece. This was
Bro,
designed
this is great.
specifically
This is gonna
for
make
you,
you laugh.
Boogie.
Gotcha.
This was designed specifically for you.
see
So
a marker here. Am I gonna have
I
to
would
write some
encourage
stuff?
everybody to stick around for that. I
You
promise.
You will. Later, you'll have to, the whiteboard in front of you, that's for the game.
Oh, God.
And by the way, McNuggets is the king of games. He comes up with some great games.
And I suck at all of them. So
This
don't
one's
worry.
this one's really, really good. Really good. And we'll hold it. And just you have to stick around for it to find out because I guarantee you you're going to laugh.
And
Go ahead,
one
McNuggets.
last thing. G. Bush and Jay were not here yesterday.
Yes.
You guys were at the Pro Hall of Fame luncheon. The full video of G's speech is on our YouTube page. Check it out. But, G, you want to give us a real quick, 1-minute teaser of kind of how it went yesterday?
Yeah,
And
it was-
congratulations.
It was super dope. Jay came on down in Canton and introduced me. They really see Jay is really a modest guy. They started getting through his bio. I'm like, dang, you did all that. He got all these awards. I'm like, dang, it's crazy. So Jay came down, showed love, got the opportunity to talk in front of the Hall of Fame Luncheon Club, and it was an honor because every single Hall of Fame inductee who's ever been inducted to the Hall of Fame, if they're still living, has spoken at that luncheon. So it's an honor to be able to just speak, speak when you got so many great people who've done so much. So it was dope, and it was super cool because I grew up in Canton. So I drove by that place all the time. Hall of Fame is something really big, really big in Canton. So I went up there. It's up on the internet right now. You can check it out on UCSS. But thanks for the Luncheon Club for having me, Jay for introducing me, and it was a great opportunity to be ambassador for the show. And kind of spread exactly what UCSS is all about and get people more involved with it. So
I encourage everybody to check out the speech too. I love the way you formatted the speech. He basically gave 5 examples of people who gave something to him that wasn't of monetary value, and how all of them had more value in what they offered you than actual money. And it's just kind of G. Bush's story in general. For those of you that know him and followed his career, he was plodding through. He hit roadblocks. He had plenty of times where he thought this just isn't going to happen. He went into the corporate world. But along the way, there were people close to him that loved him, that stood up and gave him something that told him not to leave the path that he was on. So I think it's inspirational. I think everybody can take a lot from it. I think the crowd, it was packed luncheon, a couple hundred people there. And I think everybody that was there really enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's up on our YouTube page.
Should've hit me up.
Is that all the business? Are we all caught up?
That is all business. It is
Okay.
time to talk Cavaliers.
Yeah, guys. Wow. Boogie, do you have an NBA team?
Oh, of course, Lakers.
You're a Lakers fan.
But this is
wow.
a Cleveland show, so I'm not going to speak anything.
No, that's all good,
You
bro.
should keep trying to set me up, Jay. I want to make it home, Jay. Back to Canton, so we're not talking about Lakers right now, Jay.
The Lakers, by the way, don't tug on Superman's cape.
yeah,
Don't do it.
You poke the bear just ate you.
Yeah, the bear ate a grizzly.
Yeah.
It's really, I don't want to get too far down this road, but if anybody's spitting on LeBron's grave, anybody trying to say he's not one of the elite players in the league, I've seen guys list their current top 10 and LeBron's not in it, and I feel like the only reason they made that list was so they could get clicks because LeBron wasn't in it.
Right.
This dude is still I mean, he took the game over.
He's the best player in the series.
I absolutely concur with that. His drive to the bucket to tie the game was incredible. Enough on the Lakers. This is a Cavs show.
I know already.
Man, Jace, we have to start with you. I don't know. Was I the only one that picked the Knicks in the series, or did anybody
Yes,
else?
just
Okay.
you.
But I didn't see it being this lopsided. Is this fixable, and who's to blame?
It's always fixable, whether or not they're going to. This feels bleaker than any time before when they were in a 3-1 hole because they don't have the guy. Like, Donovan's a wonderful player, but he's not what they had here before.
What happened to him Sunday?
I wanted to go back and watch the game again, and I haven't. It felt to me like that. I thought all series long the Knicks were going to do everything they could to get the ball out of Donovan's hands.
Right.
And Sunday felt like the first time where they actually did that, where they were sending 3 and 4 guys at him on multiple occasions. Get the ball out of his hands and make someone else beat you. And he didn't play well. He hasn't had a good series.
No.
Even when they're sending multiple guys at you, the great players figure out how to get it done, whether it's scoring, facilitating. Now he hasn't had a whole lot of help around him. And really that's what it comes down to for me is like everybody who wants to kill JB, like, okay, I get it. Like I haven't agreed with all of his decisions. I don't like the fact they started LeVert. I thought Okoro should have come out of the starting lineup, but I would have started Danny only because he's a veteran who isn't going to get lost in the moment, who's going to take the shots that he should take and make the right play with the ball.
And you can still get LeVert off the bench.
And you can get LeVert because they're, as we said last week, they're on a budget with their shooting. That's the biggest problem with this team. I've said it all series. I'll continue to say it. Shooting. That's not a JB issue. That's a personnel issue. Like when you look at what he's playing with, Jetty Osman should be a 9th guy in a rotation on a playoff team trying to win a championship. He should be your 9th best player. Isaac Okoro should be your 8th, 9th best player. Danny Green should be your 11th best player. And you're counting on these guys for heavy minutes because there's nobody else. They have no bigs they can play. No playable bigs. That's a problem. And like in the 3 losses against the Knicks, they've only given up, I think, at most 102 points. The defense is not the issue. And no, I don't understand why JB put Garland on Brunson. I disagree with that decision. But defense isn't what's costing the Cavs the games. They're shooting 26% from 3 in the 3 losses.
And we've talked about that all year.
That's what,
like, it's a 3-point shooting lead.
Yes.
And they've got nobody to fill that hole, and it is glaring right now in the playoffs.
And that's why they have nobody at the 3. They have nobody that can play at the 3 that can spread the floor, that can create driving lanes. I said yesterday I was driving in, I was talking to a personnel guy who said they should bring Jarrett off the bench, start Evan. Not because of the way Jarrett is necessarily playing the series. He hasn't had a good series. But because you need to space the floor. You need to create lanes for Darius and for Donovan. And I'll go back to the 2016 championship team. I know that those guys aren't here anymore, but it was the style that they played. Drive and kick. Get to the middle of the defense, kick to the shooters. That's the way to play in the NBA, but they can't play that way because they don't have the shooters. They're not deep. They have no bigs, and they have very, very little shooting.
Yeah.
Jay, I tell you what, I don't like to get to this, and I know if the fans, every time you get a team that's very likable, especially when you got guys that are good guys, they play well, they try to play the right way, it's very difficult when you criticize the way the roster is built. But, Jason is right. When he was talking about that executive, I tweeted, and it got a lot of traction. I don't know if Jared Allen is a long-term fix for this team because you got to think about it like this. The reason why everybody wants Evan Mobley to take that next step is so that Jared Allen could be the only one down there and he's not clogging up the lane. He could just do the things he does. The spacing is much better,
right.
And you have driving lanes. But you can't force that. Right now, if you look at it, Evan Mobley is just a better version of Jared Allen. That's all he is. Like, he's more athletic. He's more defensively inclined. He can guard more positions.
Is your contention that they're too similar in styles and they just need someone else?
No. My contention is that roster and the way they are playing Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and either Isaac Okoro as a 3 is not tenable. Like that, they look like they're built like a 1987 roster, like 2 bigs like Rick Mahorn and Lambeer down low. You can't do that anymore. No. And so what you see is Jared Allen is underneath the basket and Evan Mobley is underneath the basket. And on top of it, the teams, New York is just like, okay, well, How's about we just double him everywhere? Anytime Garland gets it, we double him. Anytime Mitchell gets it, we're blitzing him. And the rest of the guys can't do anything.
They can't step up and beat him. I get it's one thing if one of those two bigs can shoot like Kevin Durant.
Right.
But
And that's
they
the next,
can't.
that's the next step that Mobley has to take. That's his next progression, is becoming more of a reliable three-point shooter. It's just not there yet.
I've seen absolutely no progression.
Yeah, what if it doesn't happen?
It may never be. It may never be.
So if it doesn't happen, what's the answer?
Well, if it doesn't happen, so I don't want to give up on Jared Allen. Like one playoff series, I know a lot of people want to run Jared Allen out of town. A lot of people are saying now they're changing the ceiling on Evan Mobley. I'm not ready to do any of that based on one playoff series. Mobley's 21 years old. This is his second year. We have no idea what he can become. I think he could be the number one on a championship team. I 100% believe that's his ceiling, and I'm not going to cap it or lower it based on one bad playoff series. Jared Allen has been a tentpole to what they do defensively all year long, and he's getting pushed around by Mitchell Robinson. He has not had a good series.
Big time.
Yeah. But again, I'm not going to scrap it and throw it away because of a few bad games, a couple bad games in one playoff series. And I don't think Jared Allen's going anywhere. Like, Cavs aren't moving him because Kobe wants guys who want to be here. And Jared Allen signed a $100 million extension in Cleveland after he was traded here. Donovan didn't sign that extension in Cleveland. He signed that in Utah and was traded here. Jared Allen signed that extension after he was here. And Kobe's really big on, I want guys who want to be here, and if you don't want to be here, we'll get you out of here.
I don't think you can win a championship given loyalty test. Like, yeah, you want to be here, but if you're not,
I'm just saying it's too early to make rash decisions.
This is why I felt that the way last season ended was
100%.
so punitive.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because they didn't have a chance to make a playoff run. I think it stunted this franchise's growth by a full year because they're getting hit in the mouth in these playoffs, and they're finding out, there is another level, there is another gear, and they're not ready for it. If they were just able to get into the playoffs last year and experience last year what they're experiencing this year, this series might be going a different way. And with the Bucks on the verge of elimination at the 1 slot, can you imagine the only thing that would stand between the Cavs and an Eastern Conference trip to the finals would be the Miami Heat?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they could take them.
That's crazy.
I feel they could too.
Yeah, they could take them. I feel like you brought up last year, but I feel like that's what they thought Donovan Mitchell was going to be when they traded for him this year, to get them over that hump so they didn't have to go through those growing pains. And it's a star-driven league, and he's not having the best series, so I feel like it's a rippling effect for the whole team and things like that. So I feel like they're struggling, but we need to see that spider Donovan Mitchell, that Utah Donovan Mitchell, and we just haven't seen that peak performance. You know, playoff time, you expect it from Jimmy Butler. You've seen what he did. Well, where's that Donovan Mitchell performance that we usually get once a year or twice a year in the playoffs? Like, wow, that dude's special. So
he put Utah on his back.
On his back.
And it
looks like with less help. And he has a better roster to me, the starting five-wise.
I agree.
Here in Cleveland.
I mean, this team is better.
Yeah.
And they're going to get bounced, likely, by a Knicks team that is just, I think they're very well coached. We talked about that coming into this series. I think Tibbs has hit all the right buttons.
He has.
And with the exception of the Game 2 blowout, they have dominated this series completely.
Four rebounds?
Yeah, the rebounding was atrocious.
I keep going back to it because I know New York is rugged. I know what they do. But it ain't even about just the shooting. I mean, we look completely outclassed when it comes to hustle points, loose balls, 50-50 balls, the emotion. I mean, Jared Allen looks like somebody ran his dog over. Like it was a family of dogs that got ran over. They were all in the cart and they got ran over. And not only, I looked it up, he had 4 rebounds. Do you know Brunson had more rebounds than him? Hartenstein had more rebounds than him. Mitchell Robinson had more rebounds. Hart had more rebounds. And Obi Toppin. If you were an energy guy and that's what you bring to the table, you cannot be looking like you saw a ghost the whole series. He just has. I'm confused.
So what about JB's future? Because we had talked about some of the decisions that he had made in close and late games in the regular season. Misuse of timeouts, just some signs that were there, and now obviously in the playoffs everything gets magnified. If this is it for them and they lose Game 5 and they lose 4-1, is he back next year?
I don't think. Listen, emotion always comes into it, right, with these types of things. First of all, I don't think there's a difference if they lose in 5 or 6. I don't think that matters in terms of what we're talking about here with his future. I don't know that one game really decides anything. And I also know that this is not the same organization that it was 4 and 5 years ago in the way that
they had a quick trigger.
Yeah, the way that Dan would make emotional reactionary decisions to things. That doesn't happen anymore. They don't fire anybody anymore. Like, you should drive over to their practice facility now. They got cars going all the way to the street because they don't fire anyone. They just keep adding to the organization, and nobody, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like, I've screamed for years, there's zero stability in that organization, zero. And now they're trying to get some traction here with Koby under a long-term extension, JB under a long-term extension. So they are trying to build it the right way. I don't think he goes. I don't think. You never know when emotion comes into this and human nature plays into it. But I think he's back. But I will say, like, a lot of pressure on next year, and a lot of people are under the gun next year. Next year is a very big year in terms of Donovan Mitchell's future and in terms of how long they can hold on to him before they have to start making some difficult choices. Next year is huge for regardless of how this ends. Next year is huge for this team.
And so it looks like, from the way looking in, I look at the climate of things. So you don't have the draft capital. I don't think you got cap flexibility like that. You don't have I would say the cachet to just bring in all kind of great free agents. Like, they're just going to come and show up in Cleveland. So my thing is, right now, we're on the precipice of getting gentleman's sweep, 4-1, and I do believe that counts because that means that you could have put up a last stand at home and you laid down at home, especially if they get beat bad at home. That looks horrible. But you're set up to run it back with the whole squad. So you're going to run it back with JB and keep him there. You're going to run it back with the two bigs and hope Evan Mobley gets better. You're going to still bring back Jetty and Dean and hope Dean Wade gets some sort of game over the summer. I don't know if it's tenable for you to lose to the Knicks 4-1 in the playoffs and then run it back with a roster that I don't think make you compete at the highest level.
Yeah. My first time on a talk show, I'm not going to be up here calling for a coach's job. That will not be on my resume, especially out here in Cleveland where I have to lay my head. So
you're a wise man.
Yeah. I'm going to say he deserves one more year. I'll say there were injuries. The backcourt didn't play together as much, and they need to fix the spacing and fix the bench. But that's a personnel problem. That's not a coach problem. You let the coach go and bring in a new coach, you still have the same roster. Why wouldn't the same problem still be here?
No, that's a very good point.
You get what I'm saying? So maybe
the bench is, you look around, and it's funny because the Browns had issues at wide receiver and defensive line when they broke camp last year. Mm-hmm. And most fans just gloss right over that, say, oh, we got, we're going to be okay. We've got this, we've got that. And then you turn on the game and you realize, oh my God, it's worse than we thought. When we looked at the depth of this roster, we loved the big four. We loved that core four. But you realize in the playoffs where rotations are so critical, that bench is anemic.
Yeah,
it is ugly. And by the way, not that Kevin Love has played a huge role in the Heat going up 3-1, but he's been a factor. He's hit some big threes for Miami. He's a rotational guy. And I was as guilty as anyone. I was sitting here screaming, this guy can give you nothing in the playoffs. But I think if they had a mulligan on the Kevin Love thing, I think they would use it because it gives him a veteran who has been there, a voice in that locker room that can say, guys, 3-1 isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
I know that from experience.
Yeah.
He would bring them a quality player that can do certain things off the bench. And who shoots threes on this team? We've been asking that question all season.
So I was on the radio this morning talking to Kevin, and Mikey, can you give me 3 minutes here? Can we do this? Can we?
Sure.
I know it wasn't part, but let's have the Kevin Love conversation.
Sure.
Because I do think it's important to have, because a lot of people are screaming exactly what you're screaming. They just let him go for nothing. He could help them. The Kevin Love conversation is so complicated because human motion, again, is involved in this. And it's not like fantasy basketball where you can just bench a guy and then bring him in, put him back into your lineup, put him on your roster when you need him again.
There are feelings involved.
There are feelings involved. And Kevin felt like he was not communicated with properly from the organization in terms of...
Do you know who he blames for that?
The coaching staff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm giving you Kevin's side of it because it hasn't really been discussed. And I mentioned it briefly at the time.
You've talked to Kevin about this?
I've talked to Shams and I broke the story.
Right.
And we have spoken to people in his circle about this.
Yeah.
I have not talked directly to Kevin.
Right. But you're getting informed information
from his side.
Right.
And the Cavs could give you a completely different version. He felt like he wasn't communicated with properly, and he wanted to play. Like, he still thinks he can play in this league. He wants another contract. In order to get another contract, he's got to play. So he wanted to get on the floor and he wanted to get minutes. The Cavs very clearly felt like he could not help them any longer.
Okay, why couldn't they tell him that? Because as a fan and as a guy who's appreciated what he's brought to this organization, and to watch his ebbs and flows, highs and lows, ins and outs throughout his tenure in Cleveland, he freaking deserved that.
Well, and maybe they
deserved
did.
a conversation.
And I wasn't
and
in
you know
the
what?
room.
He just became persona non grata.
Yeah.
And even the fans were like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah. And I wasn't in the room. I don't know. Maybe they did, or maybe they feel like they did. And he communication. How many times in a relationship do you feel like you've communicated things and the other person says, no, you didn't?
Right.
So it's impossible.
Right. So don't you get in too much trouble now. I don't know what's waiting for you at home. Don't you get into
Hey, he's got a long, sordid history.
You catch on.
Yeah, I'll show up tomorrow. I'm going to know it's because of that clip right there.
Yeah, I've been taking L's for a while.
So that's where he's coming from. That's how he felt about it.
Right.
And from the Cavs' perspective, like, we've seen angry Kevin before. When he was playing and they weren't winning and things weren't going well, we've seen his outbursts on the court. And the fear with the organization was, listen, we've seen this before when he was playing. What's it going to be like if he's not playing? Is it going to be a detriment to the locker room? And they made the decision, it's better to give him what he wants. He's meant so much to the organization, send him on his way, give him the opportunity he wants, because we don't think he can help us any longer. Now, that may have been the miscalculation, but again, he wasn't playing well. Frankly, he didn't play well in Miami. He had a couple games here and there, but he didn't shoot the ball like we remember Kevin Love as a shooter. So that's why this is such a complicated conversation.
He had a great game in one of the play-in games.
He did, yeah. He had one game where I think he had 18 points.
He did.
Like the day after.
And he had a bunch of threes.
It was the day after the Cavs lost, I think.
Yes, which even drove home the point,
Yes.
what are you doing?
So that's, and they felt like Dean Wade was ready to step into a role where he could give you 18, 20 minutes a night, make a few threes, grab a few rebounds. He was going to be that stretch four. And when Kevin left, Dean completely fell apart.
So was it just a personnel miscalculation?
It very well could be, yeah. The Dean wasn't ready for that role. And that's why you wind up in this. So it's, I get why fans say, I can't believe they let Kevin go for nothing. How could they do that? But it's so much more complicated than that. There's so much.
And we have the benefit of the recent results.
Absolutely.
Too. Like at the time, he was still saying, my thumb isn't right. He was coming off the injury. And my eyes, we discussed this on the panel multiple times. I felt like once the play ratchets up in the playoffs, what is this guy going to give you?
You know what I respect the most out you know what I respect about LeBron? He did the same thing this year out in LA. He said, look, he puts maximum pressure on you. See, teams that usually would punt, they good at punting. Mm-hmm. You ever be like, man, you playing football and you be like, man, look, it's 4th and 1, you playing defense, you like, I'm tired as hell. Thank goodness they punting. Yeah. Because if they was going to run this, I was going to get blocked up front. Teams be punting. LeBron puts maximum pressure on you where there's no such thing as a punt. Every year, if it don't work, you better get back on the table and reshuffle. Now, that's the problem that we had.
Well, they came back from the dead.
And they went and got D'Angelo Russell. They went and made moves at the trade deadline. Now look what they're doing. For the Cavaliers, you have to look at this series and say, okay, well, we got to rethink some things. If we not gonna beat the Knicks, that means we was the 5th best team, right? Mm-hmm. But Miami all of a sudden looks like they're better than you. So now you got this core in this roster, and you felt really good about going into the playoffs. But what the playoffs do, the playoffs show you who you really are. The regular season stuff, that's cool. When the playoffs hit, you see the levels to it. So now, as a Cavaliers fan, I'm questioning and I'm saying, okay, well, if now all of a sudden we don't even look like the 4 seed and we down at maybe 6, 7, does that mean that this is tenable? Can you go and is this makeup something that you can actually win with against Eastern Conference teams at the top? Is that something you can do? I don't know anymore.
I believe I believe so. I feel like, but you have to address that in free agency because this series is probably over. They're going to have to find somebody on the bench that can get him some more three-point shooting because they're shooting terribly. You have the two bigs that's inside clog in the middle. That's why I believe Kevin Love still should have been on the team. Even if he didn't give you much, he gave you spacing. Yep. That would allow Donovan Mitchell and Garland to drive to the basket. So I feel like them letting him go and getting nothing in return was a mishap on personnel-wise. So you can't really blame the coach for things like that. So I'm hoping they can address that.
I wonder
in the offseason.
I'll give you that too.
Now I wonder what the machinations are inside the organization. Was it JB going to Koby saying, "I'm not going to use him. Let's move on"? You know, was it Koby making that assessment? Do you know how things internally go there?
I know Kevin had hard feelings toward the organization by the end of the run, and he was really tight with JB at one time.
But I think that's the second piece in the puzzle. The first piece was the Cavs making the decision. He's useless.
And I don't know
who made that decision.
I don't know if JB declared that or if Koby declared that.
Okay.
Or maybe it was mutual.
Right.
I don't know. But ultimately, the organization decided he couldn't help them anymore. He was not going to be a piece going forward.
It's amazing how the fortunes of teams can change in the span of just a couple of months.
Yeah.
It wasn't long ago the Cavs were sitting in the 3 in the East, and the Lakers were 13th in the West. 13th.
Look at us now.
And look at the Lakers now. And you were big on the trade deadline at the deals. You said, watch out.
They fixed a lot of their issues.
And you said, right here on the show, watch out for this Lakers team.
Yeah.
They're going to have a voice in what happens out West.
And really quickly, I just want to add, because McNuggets, you play ball a little bit. I think it's a major problem, like, that the Cavs can't just come down and dump the ball into a big man and let him work. Like, when is the last time
it's not 1987 anymore.
No, it's not.
Well, listen, like, if you asking the bigs to go out there and rim run and do all this other stuff, and they're getting hammered on the glass, at some point, why don't you make Hartenstein, why don't you make Robinson guard you? You can get a couple of up and unders. You can get something where they may foul you instead of letting them be free running around blocking shots and doing all the energy stuff.
I'll tell you why. Have we seen at any point this season Jared Allen have a traditional back-to-the-basket post-up? Have we seen, like, we haven't seen Evan Mobley do it either. We've seen him have a little bit of a jump hook from the high post, but I don't think that's in either of their games yet. Allen's way more developed than Mobley is. Mobley can still kind of generate that kind of offense as he develops, gets stronger. But
Mobley's 147 pounds. He's not backing
and Mitchell
anybody
Robinson's massive. Like, Mitchell Robinson is a physical specimen. He's 7 feet tall. He's 240, and he's 26. He's in his physical prime. And I know the light's going on and off, so if you guys got dark,
it's off.
We just sent an email to ISHO.
Yeah,
that's we'll get that addressed.
That's the Cavs playoff hopes right there.
Lights just went out.
It just fizzled and died. That's where we feel. That's where,
yeah.
Can anybody give me a reason to have optimism moving forward?
Donovan Mitchell. That's the only thing you can bank on at this point. Hopefully,
That's about all we have.
He has one of those crazy playoff games, and I'll get them to their second win, and then just hope they have some fight left.
He's going to need 3 of those, really.
Right.
Well, that's just what it is. What it is. I seen Jimmy. That game, Jimmy Butler showed me.
My God.
That's like he plays on.
What did he finish with?
56.
He woke me up out of my sleep last night. I was sleeping. I heard the Miami crowd going crazy. I said, "Hold on, let me sit up and actually watch this game."
It was nuts.
Gee, we
he
talked
is
about
going
on the post
crazy.
show
Jimmy buckets.
that there are certain moments where big-time players step up and have these like transcendent games. And Game 4 seemed like an opportunity for Mitchell to do that, going against the team that didn't trade for him.
At the Mecca,
MSG.
where he's from.
He's from New York City,
and
or
he's
from
shriveled.
New York. And this was the chance for him to come in and just say, pretty much throw a middle finger up and say, F you guys, Cleveland gave up more. You could have had me. You didn't want me. I'm going to make you feel wrong and prove you wrong for that decision.
Yeah, he did anything.
And that
but
is why it was so disappointing to me that he came up so short.
He can still get it. He still got another chance.
It's not over.
If
I'm
they
just
get
saying,
this,
Game
he could
4
still
was
go
a
to
chance.
6.
Right.
He could still go to 6 and do that. It was funny. In the year of the championship in 2016, I was when they went down 3-1 and how deflated. That was at home. They lose Game 4 at home.
Yeah, that was
And it
devastating.
was just despondent. Like, this is the freaking Warriors, the 73-9 Warriors, and you're down 3-1.
And you're going to beat them 3 times in a row.
Right, which they hadn't lost 3 straight in like 4 years.
They lost 9 the whole season.
Yeah. And I remember talking to Kevin Love at his locker, and I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. Like, maybe this is insane. If you can get 5, just get 5 out there. If you can find a way, claw, scrape, get game 5. You ain't losing 6 at home.
No.
And Kevin said, no chance. And I said, in game 7, I'll take my chances with that mother bleeper over anybody else on the floor.
And in that game 5, I thought game 5 was the most impressive because it was just basically Kyrie and LeBron, my turn, your turn, at the highest level I've ever seen.
And 40 guys watching.
40 apiece.
Yeah. And I've said throughout this series, like, listen, Donovan's not LeBron. And the court has flipped. You know, this is now you're home for 5 and 7. 6 is out there. But to your point, it's going to take Darius and Donovan.
There it is.
Carrying this thing. They have been the engine that drives this franchise all year long. So if they're going to do this, if they're going to come back from this, it's on those two guys. You can talk about the rebounding all you want, and you're 100% right. Everything you said earlier is dead on. They're getting pushed around on the boards. Jared Allen, 4 rebounds, inexcusable. They're getting killed on the offensive glass, and they're still giving up 99, 101, and 102 in the 3 losses.
And
that's
sub
it.
100
that's it.
That's their line. When they hold teams to under 100, they win.
So in three losses, they've given up 99, 101, and 102 points, despite everything that's gone wrong on the glass, all the offensive rebounds they're giving up. That's not the issue. Like, the defensive side is not why they're in this 3-1 hole. They need Donovan and Darius to drag them across the finish line like they have all year long.
It's a mental test.
If Darius plays like he played in the 3rd quarter and like he played in game 2, they got a chance. If Donovan plays like he did in game 1, I think he had a pretty decent game 1, if memory serves.
He did game 1.
He did.
Yeah. If he played like that's how they get back in this thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they can do
anything short of that. Like, if both of those things don't happen, there's zero chance.
Yeah.
There's zero chance. Go ahead, McNuggets.
I got a poll question, and I want you guys to answer that. Then we will move on to our next topic here. But whenever we ask the YouTube chat a question, it's brought to us by our good friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We asked the poll, the always trusted, always ingenious YouTube chat poll, that if the Cavs lose this series, will JB be fired? 55% said no, which is actually different than what we had initially thought the poll would come through. Jason, you said no. Boogie, you said no. G and J, what do you think about JB's future?
I think the results are in the framing of your question. You said, will he be fired? I think the proper question to ask the fans, should he be fired? I don't think he will, because I'm with Jason. I think the last 4 or 5 years, the organization is being run completely different. If this was, younger, more cantankerous Dan, he's gone. But it's not. And I think because of that, he'll get another shot. And I just hope that we're not sitting here next April saying, we lost another year.
Yeah.
We lost another year. Because if you can, put up his numbers again. Put up JB's career stats, if you would, Steve.
Yeah, give me 1 second. 160.
He's 50 games under 500 for his career in the regular season, and he's 2-7 in the postseason. And I know that there are plenty of examples of guys just figuring it out. But guys, that's a pretty good sample size.
Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask you a question. If you flip teams, and Tibbs was coaching the Cavs, and Bickerstaff was coaching the Knicks, who do you pick?
I said at the start.
Who would win this?
No question, Cavs.
I said at the start.
No question.
The Knicks held the coaching edge in this series with Tibbs.
So
and I'll tell you what,
that's the thing.
If they play Miami in the next round, Spoelstra would have the coaching edge over.
Absolutely.
I think Spoelstra is the best coach of the NBA.
And so ultimately, here's the where the rubber meets the road question, because you said the clock's ticking. Clock's always ticking in sports. Always. You can hear it. It's deafening. You've got a coach that you're saying wouldn't have an advantage against the Knicks, wouldn't have an advantage against the Heat. Let's expand it. Would he have an advantage against the Celtics?
Yeah.
That's a rookie head coach.
It is a rookie head coach, but it's still fair to ask because I've seen some pretty impressive things.
It's a draw at worst, I think, for the Cavs. I'd call that a draw. And I am no fan of Budenholzer in Milwaukee, by the way.
No, I know. That's why I didn't even go to Milwaukee, because I don't know how Budenholzer is held on in Milwaukee.
He might. I'd be curious to see what happens there.
If they lose, he's gone.
Because we've talked about it before. The whole reason Jimmy's an owner, Jimmy Haslam's part ownership, is all the contract decisions they have coming up.
Yeah.
If they get bounced, I'll be really curious to see what happens to Mike
He
Budenholzer
gone.
Yeah.
there.
Well, it's the Haslam effect.
I actually thought that last
He
night.
buys into the Bucks. Boom! First round bounce. I heard he wants to buy the Pittsburgh Maulers. I'm kidding.
We still got to win, so I don't.
I'm kidding. No, here's the problem. If you don't have a coach that you believe can win a championship, then what are you doing? Why are you wasting anybody's time?
Well, and that's why I said they're going to have the Ime Udoka conversation. Every team in the league's going to have it.
Well, he's hired.
And that's why I'm saying Houston knew that too. And
Sure,
Houston
they said we're going to get him before anybody else does.
Yep, Houston pounced fast on that.
And you know what?
Yeah.
It'll be controversial for a minute, but as soon as he starts winning there, it'll be okay.
Yep.
You guys talked about switching the coaching staffs, but you said defense wasn't the problem. We all agree that defense isn't the problem. And Tibbs is a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
And you said if you switch switch coaches, I don't know if you would get different results because it's not the defense. It's still not going to have shooting, still going to have a bad bench.
Yeah, your point earlier, you still got to address the roster holes.
Going to have bad spacing. So the mentality of the Cavs may change because he's going to install toughness and a defensive mindset. But the offensive problem still will be here, whether you have Bickerstaff or Tibbs.
It's like a racing team almost. Okay, so you've got the car, and you've got the engine and the brakes and the tires and everything else, and the car would be the team in this case. And you've got Garland and Mitchell and Allen and Mobley, but there are some other very important parts on that car that are woefully underperforming. But your driver ultimately is going to take you however far you can go. Yeah. You can have this souped up, unbelievable car with all the right parts, but if the driver's not the right driver, he could put it into a wall. And I think the driver in this case is the coach. And I don't know if you put a perfectly calibrated team into JB's hands if he's going to be able to take them across the finish line.
I don't know that we don't know. Like right now, he's driving a car that doesn't have any oil in it. The transmission is leaking.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's fair to say we just don't know. And that's a tough spot to be in.
How much do you have to see before we do know? So Wednesday will be his 10th playoff game. If he wins it, his winning percentage will be 300.
Well, if Darius makes 6 threes and Donovan makes I'm serious.
No, I mean that's crazy.
He's going to look like a genius.
But I mean, some of that would be them getting open.
Oh, they've had a lot of open looks. They've had a lot of open looks in this series.
Jason,
and they're just missing them.
I think at this point, I threw it out to McNuggets, and we got to get to Cavs. But I would sit Jared Allen. I start Mobley at the 5. I put Danny Green in the lineup and go small with either an Okoro or Levert, whatever one you want in there. And I go super small, keep Garland at the point. So at least you got some sort of spacing. You may get killed on the boards, but guess what? You're getting killed on the boards anyway.
If you had one more competent shooter, I'd probably agree with that. But the fact is they don't. Like, I've been the biggest proponent of Danny Green of anybody in Cleveland, only out of necessity, not because I think he's that great or has anything. Like, he can barely get up and down the floor. Yeah. But it's just where they're at.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, we're going to pivot from the Cavs to the Browns, and we're going to tap into Boogie's expertise here. This was a bit of a research project turned question I want to pose to you, and this segment's going to be brought to us by the USFL. They are back in Canton, all over the country, including our good friends in Pittsburgh. And by good friends, I mean just Boogie. No one else in Pittsburgh. Boogie, the only Pittsburgh person we like on this show. Check him out at USFL.com. It is phenomenal football action. You get to see future stars like Boogie play before they reach the next level. Guys, did you know the last time a Brown not named Myles Garrett recorded 10 sacks was 2014? The same year, a player on the Browns recorded 5 or more interceptions. And we know the Browns have made quite the upgrade in both the secondary and on the defensive line this year. So my question for you guys today is, what is more likely to happen this season? A Brown not named Myles Garrett records double-digit sacks, or someone on the Browns picks off at least 5 passes?
Oh, stop. They're not going to.
They still have Denzel Ward on this team, right?
Well, I would say that because Denzel Ward, because I know that they've upgraded the line, but they didn't have 10 sacks combined outside of Myles Garrett last year.
Yeah, I don't think Obo or Tomlinson's going to suddenly.
I don't think either one of those guys is a double-digit sack guy. Let's turn to the expert. Are they? I mean, I don't.
Obo might be the closest to get there, but 10 sacks is tough.
That's a
10
lot
sacks
of
is 10 sacks.
man.
Like, no matter how you look at it, everybody going into the year started like, if I can just get double-digit sacks. So that's already everybody's benchmark.
Yeah.
And 10 sacks is tough. And looking at this, Myles Garrett is amazing. So he already puts pressure on those guys. But he gets all the eyes. So if those guys are going to have more chances to get one-on-ones, I will say Obo has the best chance to do it, but I'm not sure because 10 is tough. He's never had 10 before.
Right.
I don't think nobody else on his D-line has had 10
I don't think
before,
they have either.
so.
No, I think you're right. And 5 picks, I mean, I know that guys used to lead the league and they'd have close to double-digit picks, but that's not the case anymore.
Ain't nobody doing
If you
that
have
no more.
5 picks now, you're among league leaders.
Yeah.
You're like in the top 3 or 4.
6 led the league last year.
6 led the league.
Because guys aren't, going for interceptions is risky. Like,
Quarterbacks just take better care of it.
you have to be close to the ball. You got to be in phase. You got to look back for the ball. You got to play the ball. And technically, people who usually do that, they either give up a lot of big plays or they get pass interference called on them. So now people are just like, look, we just want you to keep guys in front of you.
Yep.
We might keep you in off coverage. You don't even see bump and run coverage no more because of that thing, right? So it's hard to get picks. It's almost easier for a safety to get picks now than a corner because the safety sees the quarterback. Tip balls can happen, and he may get some picks, but it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go with interceptions.
Yeah, I didn't even answer him.
I'm gonna go with
think so,
picks
too.
because these 10 sacks is stupid hard.
20 guys last year had at least 10 sacks, and 4 of them were on the Eagles.
Well, I mean, Schwartz is now the D coordinator for the Browns.
Yeah, well,
So
the
are you going
personnel's a little
sacks?
different.
Yeah, he doesn't
no,
have
I'm
that.
going picks.
Yeah, that D-line.
I'm
that he
going
has.
neither. But
Yeah,
if you're gonna
I'm with you.
You're gonna make me pick. I'll go.
I think neither will happen.
with Denzel Ward on the roster. I'll take interceptions.
That's the exact same reason why I would go with Ward. Man, 10 is a lot.
Interceptions for me as well.
Yeah.
And pass rush and we always say pass rush and coverage works together in a sense. So if you get more pressure on the quarterback, it makes the quarterback have to speed up.
Right.
He may throw bad passes, giving the DBs more chances to get interceptions. And if the DBs are back there covering their tails off, that makes the quarterback have to hold and pat the ball a couple extra seconds.
And
that
that leads
allows
to sacks.
that allows the defensive line.
really do work hand in hand.
Allowing the defensive line to get there. So we'll be able to see very early where this defense is going to stand and rank amongst the rest of the NFL.
As a D lineman, let them know how frustrating it is to work. You hit one of your best moves. You've been setting it up for 2-3 series, and then all of a sudden you get you about 5 milliseconds from getting home, and the quarterback gets rid of the ball. And you've been working your move. It's just like it's so difficult to get there, and that has to be one of the most frustrating things in the world as a D lineman.
Absolutely. It is so tough to get sacks. You throwing all these moves, you working on them in the offseason. We like to call ourselves dancing bears. We doing a little dance, and we finally beat the offensive lineman, and the ball is gone. And you just like, damn.
I wasted that move.
You out of breath. You trying to figure out what's going on because you can't throw the same move again because
Right.
those guys are pros too. But then you go back and watch it on the film, and you realize that, dang, he was uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Faulty earpiece.
Trust me. For the first 2 months, I was doing this the whole time. Mic check.
Hold on, guys. He hasn't brought out the contraband yet. We're still working on it. Yeah, like we were saying. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's gotten to the point in the NFL that if you breathe on the quarterback wrong, it's a flag. And some of the flags that we've seen thrown,
Egregious.
You really ask yourself, what was the defensive lineman supposed to do? Turn matrix and hover over the quarterback after he's left his feet? Do you find that there's a difference in the way the leagues call the hits on quarterbacks? Like, is the USFL a little more forgiving? Are they calling it as tight as the NFL? Have you noticed a difference?
I'll start off by saying it's an offensive game now in both leagues. People want to see points. That brings in ratings. That brings excitement. So they want to protect their biggest investment, which is quarterbacks.
Right.
I don't know what they expect the defensive lineman to do, mid-tackle to stop his body weight, turn to the side.
Yeah.
What about protecting the defensive lineman? Why is it that he won't get hurt trying to protect the quarterback when we're playing?
Trying to pull up.
Yeah, when we're playing football. And I've sseen guys try to pull up and not hit a quarterback. He breaks the tackle, then throws a long pass and things like that. So it's tough as a defensive lineman, but that's the game we play now, so we have to adjust. In the USFL, it's a little lax because the quarterbacks aren't getting paid what those guys are getting paid. So
they're not treated as such a commodity.
You get one step in the NFL, we probably get like two in the USFL, but the quarterbacks get hit, they still turning around, looking to the ref and things like asking for calls. But you can see a little bit of the difference, and I really feel like it's because of the contracts and the money. The quarterbacks in the NFL are the most important position in any sport, but they drive the NFL, so they want to protect their investment, which makes sense.
Sure.
But show some love to the big guys. We're 300-plus pounds. How do you expect us to stop our fall and things like that? You barely touch them. You have bad breath, it's a flag. So we got to fix it.
It really is.
I don't get it.
It's crazy, and I don't know that the game is better for it. You're right. Everybody wants to see offense, and nobody wants to see these franchise quarterbacks go out. They're the ones that drive, for the most part, the ratings and the interest in the game. But holy cow! I mean, some of these flags you look at and say, what are they supposed to do?
Because you don't want to see games decided by the ref throwing a roughing the passer or drives extended because of bogus flags. So then you have another problem. Then the fans are mad at the officials and fans are mad at the league. So I don't know how they're going to fix it. I guess they're just going to stay with how it is, protecting the quarterbacks and just tell the defense that they have to figure it out.
One of the things we wanted to ask you about was getting pressure on quarterbacks. There's various ways to do it. Last year, the Browns seemed to lock it down in a 4-3, and that was it. We rarely saw exotic blitzes. You didn't see corners coming. You never saw safeties come. It was just a very vanilla bland. This is what we're going to do. We believe that our 4 can get past your 5 to get home. It didn't work. Clearly it didn't work. Jim Schwartz is a guy that will mix it up. We'll see. He'll go wide 9.
Yeah.
And that stretches things out. If you would, take us through the philosophy of some of these different looks and what you think of the wide 9 and how maybe getting pressure is either harder, easier, what it does for the defensive front.
In a sense of a wide 9, you have to have a dog out there on the edge, which they do in Myles Garrett. In a sense, that's just giving him more space to win his one-on-ones and creating more space for the interior guys to get on edges and things like that. You spoke about them not bringing pressure and things like that last year. That's the biggest testament you can have and the biggest faith and confidence you can show in your D-line is saying, look, we're going to drop 7 back in coverage, and we trust and believe that you 4 will get pressure. But when that doesn't happen and the quarterback's just sitting there holding the ball, he's able to just pick the defense apart, and that's what you've seen with the Browns last year, and there weren't no adjustments and things like that. But the wide 9, I believe that's just for those edge guys to have more space and to be able to take inside moves and work outside as well. And when you have a guy like Myles Garrett, that's the best.
Are you a fan of it? Do you like playing in a wide 9?
Well, I'm 300 pounds. I don't go all the way out there.
Right.
I'm from 3, 2, and 1.
Does it make things easier on the inside if everybody is more spaced out?
Yeah and no, because on the inside, you can't get out of your rush lanes and things like that. You might think you have more space than you actually do. You have a wide 9 rushing, then your 3 technique is rushing wide. Now the gap's here. If you're playing a guy like Lamar Jackson that'll take off, you're done.
Yeah,
so
that'll hurt
the
you.
wide 9 has pros and cons. You have to have a good linebacker behind him as well because now they have a couple of gaps to cover as opposed to just one when you're in a 4-3 scheme.
Yeah. And I don't know the Browns have that linebacker on their roster right now.
They don't have him. He is not here on this roster.
Do you know anything? You never played for Jim Schwartz, but being in the league, have you heard anything about his reputation? Maybe you have friends or guys that you know have played with that have played in that system. What do you hear about? He was in Philly.
He was in Philly.
And they were racking up sacks like they were, nothing.
I really haven't heard anything about him, but I don't want to take anything away, not saying he's a good coach and everything, but that personnel and that D-line was – you could have put me to go coach them, and I would have had a DC job after coaching them last year. So I really haven't heard much about him, but it worked in Philly. I know the Cleveland fan base is hoping that he can come out here and duplicate that success. I know you have a franchise piece in Myles Garrett, and then you have Larry, so hopefully you can find – I believe, is Larry still on the team?
No, I wish.
So he's gone because I used to like him. He was a good counterpiece with Myles Garrett that played in the inside.
Right.
So you guys got to find that opposite guy of Myles Garrett that can duplicate the pressure, and I think things will be okay.
Yeah.
Boogie, I know you played with LA for a year.
Yeah.
You got to kind of learn up close and personal from Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
What did you kind of take away from him that you didn't learn from playing with other DTs on the highest level like that? What makes him so special compared to the rest of the guys at that position in the league?
Man, he's a freak of nature, man. Just the things I've seen that guy do is just crazy. And I'm sure you guys have seen his workout videos. He's moving faster than DBs. He's doing ladder drills and back drills. So I remember our coach would say, there's Aaron Donald and there's everybody else. So don't try to copy him. So that's what I took from it. I would just try to pick his brains as much as possible. And he's an amazing guy. You know, he didn't have to. I was kind of like his rookie. He would come out early with me and work on things and show me certain things. And he didn't have to do that. He's all pro. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best defensive player to ever play the game. And he didn't have to do that, you know. And I always tell the story, like, he's just an amazing human being and just a freak of nature. We'll probably never see anything like him, and it's just been an honor to play with him. You know, we're still very close to this day.
Yeah.
We play Call of Duty almost every day.
Nice,
so,
very nice.
I send him clips. He gives me feedback on things I can work on and things that I need to get better on.
It's a pretty good mentor to have, really.
The best mentor to have.
How much longer do you think he'll play?
I would say this year for sure, and then depending on how this year goes, if they're right there, if they can almost get there or get to the Super Bowl, then one more year. But if it's a bad year like last year, he has nothing else to prove. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So I'll say two max. Yeah. One at the least, depending on how this season goes, because they're blowing up that roster down there.
You know, that's an interesting statement that you made, because I think he's in that conversation now, Jay. Perhaps the greatest defensive player ever. I mean, when you start running down the list of guys like LT and Ray Lewis and guys that were impacted. Think about all the kids that grew up in their backyards pretending to throw that last-second quarterback touchdown to win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very rare that you see one guy win a Super Bowl with multiple defensive plays on that last stand. And even on that last play, you just knew Donald's going to do something because that's what he does. That's what he's been doing this whole drive. That's so rare. Where does he fit in the pantheon of all-time great defensive players?
For me, it always starts with Lawrence Taylor. To me, he is the greatest defensive player ever. Quarterbacks were literally terrified of him.
And he changed the game because no one did what he did.
And he is the one who got left tackles paid, frankly.
Right.
He is the reason why the left tackle position became so important to the NFL. So that it begins and ends there. But he also played a completely different position than where Aaron Donald plays. And for Aaron to have the impact that he has from the inside, from an inside push.
It's amazing.
That inside, I would probably agree.
You know, so crazy. I'll go back and forth about this all the time. Like, some days it's like you say who the best defensive lineman ever. I say Lawrence Taylor some days, but then some days I go watch Reggie White and be like, I don't even know what Reggie White played. He played in at 315. That's a clean cheat. And then I look at Aaron Donald, and there has never been a better athlete to ever play three technique than Aaron Donald. Like, so he has the speed, quickness, and agility of an elite lineman, but his stature inside, I mean, he was playing that at 285, 290, and you couldn't do nothing. And he was one of the dudes that was coming up, like, you know, Deacon Jones had the head slap, right? You know what I'm saying? Myles Garrett can bend really great. He has the bend. Dwight Freeney, he has the burst to get off. But Aaron Donald, he was in there creating whole moves. He was just, how you create moves? What new moves? He would be like, yeah, this is my new move. I'm going to move his elbow up like this. And I'm like, this dude is ridiculous. He's doing way too much.
He has influenced, like, the next generation. You know, back in the day, you wanted your D tackles, you know, 6'3 plus, 320. They wanted to pass the eye test. He has opened up a lot of doors for certain stature type of D linemen that say I can play and I can be explosive, I can be dominant and very productive. So he's like the gate. He's opened up doors for a certain stature of guys, and it's just been amazing. And I'm biased. I know how tough it is inside, in the sense of, you know, those edge guys are great. LT and Reggie White, they're amazing. Nothing to take away from those guys. But you guys seen more of them play than I did. You were around when TV was in black and white. I wasn't. So with my eyes, all I've seen play is Aaron Donald. To do that from the inside when it's easier for teams to double team you and scheme you up and to still be that productive and defeat double teams, sometimes triple teams, and to still make plays, I have to go with him as the greatest defensive player that I've ever seen. And to me, he's number one on my list, and it may be a little biased because
Sure.
of the personal relationship, but
To
he
be
has.
clear, we never saw leather helmets.
He has the.
We're not that old.
But, I did forget one, clearly greatest defensive player ever, Tyvis Powell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So no conversation can happen with Tyvis.
Tyvis is number one.
Tyvis Powell, the Thundercat linebacker himself.
Everybody else is fighting for number 2.
Is that McNuggets'
you have
other
something.
nickname?
No.
Tyvis
I
is a
thought
guy
Tyrus
show-
Powell was his other nickname. I was going to say McNuggets.
Oh, you meet
Yeah.
Tyvis.
Yeah.
You'll meet Tyvis.
Yeah, you'll meet Tyvis. He's our Buckeye.
Yeah, it is 12 though, which means the lunch o'clock or the lunch hour
I like the
of the
lunch
Ultimate
o'clock.
Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. We're gonna get into a little Jets.
My
Browns
favorite time of day is
comparison in
lunch
a sec.
o'clock.
Me too.
But we have two things I want to mention, and this is Guardians related both. We're going to say RIP to Bulls' hopes and dreams because Brian Reynolds has agreed to an 8-year, $106 million extension with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Man.
Meaning his pipeline dream of trading the farm for Brian Reynolds is
Man,
officially
we could have got
dead
him.
on
You know,
sight.
the Guardians have like 12 home runs, and they're, 23 games into the season or something?
That's crazy.
We'll talk Guardians in a sec. Also, Tanner Bibby was
we didn't
scratched
say
from
that
his
word
start
on
in
the show.
Columbus. Bibby. I told you, I'm rebranding him as Bibby.
I know.
Has been scratched from his start in Columbus, and the Guardians just need a starter tomorrow. So I think he's going to make his Major League debut tomorrow.
It
Mandy
sounds
Bell
like it, yeah.
just tweeted that out, so be on the lookout. We will talk Guardians in a sec, and specifically Manny Ramirez. But yesterday, and we'll wrap up our football talk today with this, the Aaron Rodgers trade finally went through.
Finally.
Can you talk about a drama that took 17 weeks too long to finalize? These are the trade details. The Jets get Rodgers and a pick swap, essentially. They go from 13 to 15, plus a 5th round to the Packers, move up from 15 to 13. They get a 2nd-round pick this year, a 6th-round pick, and a conditional pick next year. It'll be a 2nd-round pick. If he doesn't play 65% of the snaps, it'll be a 1st-rounder. If he does play 65% of snaps, a large price to pay for a quarterback who may or may not play for more
I
than a
didn't
year.
think it was that big, really.
The
I didn't-
positional trade value chart says they gave the 7th overall pick. If you do like those
But the
analytics
Jets are getting the
numbers.
15th pick along with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's a pick swap.
13 for 15, right?
Yeah, they moved down 2 spots.
But it's not like you're losing your first pick.
No, but then they're going to give up a 1 next. More than likely, it's going to be a 1 if he stays healthy.
And that, to me, was the cost, which, I know he's at the end of his career, and who knows how many years he's going to give them. But I didn't – when I finally saw the details, I'm like, it took that long for this?
Yeah, I don't think it's as. I mean, I think some people are blown out of proportion and feel like, the Jets got fleeced. I don't know that I would go that far. They've got a great roster, frankly.
I don't think the
they were a
Jets got
quarterback
fleeced.
away from being a
They
player.
went out and got the piece they needed.
They went out and got the piece they needed.
Take a
And
look at what
that's
the
the
Browns.
question.
Now I know that you're talking about 10 years in age difference, maybe more, but look at what the Browns gave up to get their piece.
Yeah.
And then look at what little the Jets had to give up to get their piece. And theirs is, I think the big question is for how many years.
Right.
Because you're talking about a guy who's been, teasing retirement for a couple of years already.
Right. I mean,
how much does he have left?
Deshaun theoretically is in the prime of his career and should be
Yes.
for the foreseeable future. So that's why the price is so much heavier than
Sure.
for a guy for 1 year. Who do you like better? I mean, if I'm being honest, I do like the Jets better only because that's a ferocious defense. That's a nasty, their defensive line. That's a terrific defensive line they have in New York. The receivers are better than the Browns. They don't need prime Aaron Rodgers. They don't need Aaron Rodgers, MVP caliber guy. They just need better than Zach Wilson, and he'll give them that. And I just think
He'll give
there's-
them a lot better than Zach Wilson.
and I just think there's too many questions. If we're going to compare positional group, I mean, I would take the Browns running back over the Jets, but I would take the Jets receivers over the Browns. I take the Jets defensive line over the Browns, even with Myles Garrett here. I like their defense. I like the receivers, and I like the Jets a little bit better for 1 year.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think either one of them are going to the Super Bowl, but for 1 year, I like where the Jets are at.
Yeah, we're aligned on a lot of things today because I don't think either one of them are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And to your point, the 1 year, give me the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next 5, give me the Browns.
Absolutely.
But for next year, I in watching the Jets, and I know that they had similar seasons in a lot of ways, but I just think they're closer than we are because of their – I think they have an elite wide receiver who's only going to get better.
Yes.
And when you pair him with a guy like Aaron Rodgers who knows what to do with an elite receiver, because that's the other part of this, I think they're slightly closer. But I think, the Jets probably have a better chance of making the playoffs, but neither team's going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is a nasty little question. This is
welcome.
like the king of medium sauce. What's the difference between mild and medium? Not much. These dudes, I look at it like this. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he's going to live off what he did with the Packers. I do like their skill positions. Garrett Wilson is nice. Sauce Gardner is nice. I mean, when the last time you get two guys back to back to win Rookie of the Year, like on offense and defense? I mean, I can't even knock that. Breece Hall, they just got pieces, and on the strength of it, they came into First Energy Stadium or now Cleveland Brown Stadium, and they beat y'all like in one of the most embarrassing fashions that we've seen. Like that game is just nastiness. Like, so for me, I want to say that the Jets is better, but no, we not gonna go there. You know why? Because
you still sipping that Kool-Aid, bro?
Because it's still something left in Deshaun Watson. I told you what I needed. I need 4,800. I need 4,800, upwards of 42, 43 touchdowns. And I got you for 350 on the ground with 4 rushes. Now, if you could give me that.
That's all?
I'm telling you, by opening weekend, he's going to be 6,500.
My
And he's catching 4 touchdowns, too.
Hey, listen.
If he goes for 40 and
40
touchdown, like he's the MVP.
Let's go. Listen, I feel like that's in the deck. That's somewhere in the chamber. I don't know how you get there. Woo. I feel like that's somewhere in the beginning. Hey, Jimmy Haslam believed that, don't he?
He also bought into the Milwaukee Bucks.
You're right. And then they took an L immediately. Giannis gets hurt the next week. And by Kevin Stefanski believes in him, right?
Let's go to a neutral voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neutral voice. What you
Boogie?
think?
What you
I'll
got?
say I'll say Jets, but be careful just already annoying the Jets going to the Super Bowl, because we've seen this in 2 years. We have enough sample size. It could be a 2021 with Matt Stafford going to the Los Angeles Rams and being that last piece that the teams need, and they win a Super Bowl. Or it could be a Russell Wilson situation.
Ooh.
You get what I'm
those
saying?
are really, those are the
You get what
floor
I'm
and the
saying?
ceiling of that.
See what I'm saying? Going to a team where, this roster is just a quarterback away, great defense, great weapons on the outside. The quarterback comes to a new situation and everything hits the ground. So just be careful, because we've seen it could be the pinnacle, a Super Bowl, or you can get a new quarterback and not make the playoffs and people start questioning. So what do you
think the Jets are closer to? Do you think they're closer to Stafford and the Rams, or do you think they're closer to Russ and the Broncos? Because that's a great point.
Yeah.
There was a huge disparity in those those home run quarterback moves.
I'm going to go Stafford and the Rams just
Really?
because I believe Aaron Rodgers is better than Russell Wilson, no matter what system you put him in.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is, like Stephen A. is a bad man.
That's a bad man.
That's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
I hope it's closer to the Rams. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to say the Jets have a better chance.
I have one guarantee. You want my guarantee? I don't make them very often.
Yeah.
I got a guarantee.
I want a
for
guarantee.
Come on.
He's going to start game one.
Before you say it, let's put something on it. Jason, you like to gamble? I like to gamble.
I think this might be a joke guarantee.
This is a lock. If you want to bet me on it, you go right ahead. But this is a lock.
Let's hear the lock, then we'll decide what the stakes are.
All right, Patrick Mahomes. Let's assume Lamar's back in Baltimore.
With Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, no, I know where he's going.
Let's assume Lamar's back in Baltimore. Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow,
Josh Allen.
Thank you. Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun. Aaron Rodgers.
Russell Wilson in there. Who knows what can happen with the new coach?
No, Russ is in the West.
That's right. Yeah. No, he's in the.
And Burrow. I missed Burrow.
Okay.
Those
Russ
9.
Is in the East.
The
Russ
West.
is in Denver.
AFC. We're going
I'm
AFC.
sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not even counting Russ.
You're
You
not
want to throw
counting
Russ in there? We'll throw Russ in there.
I mean, because
10.
who knows with the new coach?
10.
You counted Burrow twice, but it's okay.
The new coaching with God on
All
the
right,
side.
hang on. I got the list here. I was trying to be smart. Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Jackson, Lawrence, Mahomes, Rodgers, Watson, and Russ Wilson.
My God.
Okay, so I did have Russ on the list.
That's
9.
the quarterback gauntlet.
Those are 9 quarterbacks. I can't do 9. Those are 9 quarterbacks in the AFC. I guarantee you.
You didn't mention Deshaun Watson, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
yeah,
you
he's
did?
on there. I guarantee you 2 of them don't make the playoffs. Guarantee it. And that's not even counting.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's not even counting Miami.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even counting Miami.
Right,
Two
throw
of those
Tua in there.
quarterbacks, 2 of those 9 I mentioned, 1,000,000% are not going to the playoffs. Among others. Who knows?
What type of
Who
sucker
else?
bet is that? if you get somebody to take that bet, McNuggets, I'm going to call. I'm switching your name so you know what I called you last week. If you take that bet, you deserve to be called what I called you last week. We got to take.
No, come on, listen.
Hey,
Listen. I'm a smart gambler.
Is betting $10
Okay.
on every Oakland A's game this year.
That's crazy.
For them to lose.
How you doing so far?
I'm up $83.
Damn.
It's a cheat code.
They're about to lose their team too soon.
They're going to Vegas. They're probably going to lose 110, maybe even 120 games.
Are they that bad?
They're
they're awful.
like a AAA team.
Yeah, they're awful.
They have the worst roster.
When you look
you
at their
could possibly
roster, you
imagine.
think you're looking at their minor league roster.
Yeah.
There's no names that you would recognize on the Oakland A's. None.
All right, let me ask you a question while we're on the Jets topic. Take out Jalen Hurts from the NFC.
Okay?
I'm going to read you a list of the other NFC quarterbacks. Let's pick the second best NFC quarterback and figure out where he would rank among the AFC best. So take out Hurts. Hurts
Right.
is obviously, way above everyone else. But these are the options for number 2. Dak, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones, and Geno Smith.
You threw Daniel Jones in there, bro? That's a Giants home.
Listen, I'm reading this is from NFL on CBS.
Nasty.
They just tweeted this out.
Guys, I don't know that here's what that demonstrates.
That just hurt my ear.
In the history of the NFL, there has never been the disparity at the most important position from one league to the other that exists right now at quarterback in the NFL.
Facts.
They're all in the AFC.
Facts.
So who's number 2 though?
I don't even know. That's a bunch
Cousins, Dak.
You know what it is? It's like walking a used car lot. And they're,
this
some
one
of
doesn't
those
have
are
any
shiny.
brakes.
See, yeah, some of them are shiny, but they've all got issues.
Yeah.
Every one of the guys that you mentioned have major issues. And then when you look at Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and throw in, I think Herbert's going to have a breakout season this coming year. I don't know why I think that. I just do.
I've thought that for a couple of years and it hadn't really happened yet.
I thought he was going to last year as well, but I think he's poised this coming season to have an MVP type season. Those 4 guys are head and shoulders above the best 2 in the NFC, which I don't even know who that number 2 guy would be.
Who? I can't believe Kirk Cousins might be in the top 3.
You like that?
You like that? Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, he
Say
in
it
there-
with your
yeah,
chest,
he in there
Kurt.
dancing with the chains on. You like that? Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it. That's where we are, though. He's in the conversation for the second best quarterback in the NFC.
So nobody believes in Dak.
I don't. I want to, but you know what? I've bought that gold 4 or 5 years, and I take it to the counter, and they're like, "I'm sorry, sir. This is a rock that's painted gold."
Actually, that's iron pyrite.
Is that what it is?
I
Fool's gold?
think that's the periodical table name for fool's gold.
Well, to me, that's what Dak is.
Yeah.
It's what's crazy is how often in sports do you really get a mulligan? And I thought last year they really got a mulligan from their playoff loss. Mm-hmm. They're against the same team. They're in the same situation. And what do? I mean, to me, here's the shame of it. The last play in the career
Of Ezekiel
Elliott's Cowboys career was him getting completely trucked playing center. What are the odds of that happening?
Hey, listen, that's a steak dinner with asparagus when they slide down and all of a sudden the back checks from inside out and they like,
That's barbecue chicken.
Like, you blocking me every single time. Now, what you probably should do is hit a move and move him out the way and tackle the quarterback. But we fall for it every time because he blocking us. And the first thing you do is just run and put your face mask in him and put him in the first row of the bleachers. That's a shame, Zeke. Can we get that? Dirty.
This is the end of his career.
That's a terrible way for Tag Board to lock down.
Oh,
You can drop that, Steve.
That's bad.
that wasn't even intentional.
That was like, he was this.
There was a moment frozen in time.
Right, listen. Super pause. You can't have a man bending
Tag
over
board
like
locked
that.
up over here too.
Can we try it with Tag Board again for real, or is it going to do the same thing?
Anthony's going to find a different tweet that has the same video, but Tag Board decides sometimes to Kraus, while he's doing that, I'm going to
try
remind.
putting that in your other ear once. It might be. Is that IFB twisted for his left ear? I don't know.
I think it's just a
I just got a big ear.
multi-purpose.
Hey, listen. They don't come
what?
in all.
No.
It ain't one size fit all. Like sometimes you.
No,
see,
I know. He's having a hell of a time with it.
We
It
don't have
just
any
keeps-
guests.
it just
Boogie,
keeps-
if you can hear me, you don't really need to hear anything else. If
Oh, I
just
can hear
sit
you.
there.
I got you,
Beautiful,
Nuggets.
beautiful. All right, real quick. While Anthony's looking for that, real quick, I'm going to remind everybody about the membership tiers, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Before we talk a little Guardians here, as Anthony tries to deal with his demons, a.k.a. his internal battle with Tag Ward on a daily basis here.
give me an emoji.
It's still happening. For $1.99 a month, you can become a starter
I need
member.
an emoji.
Hey, Boogie just said he needs an emoji.
what would you gotta get your emoji face together? You gotta come with something.
I bet
Ha you know.
Well, listen, give me a highlight.
He's got a blue steel.
Yeah. Just
Rock the blue steel. Look at here. Look at that, ladies.
Yeah, just,
Oh, that one's for the ladies.
His screen name is Black Suede.
We'll see what we can
Sexy
do with that.
chocolate.
We're still trying to
That's
get
what
Anthony
I'm
and
gonna
Earl
go for.
emojis.
Sexy chocolate he wants to be known as.
What'd he say?
He said he wants to be known as sexy chocolate.
What you feel about
Hey.
that, McNuggets?
We got McNuggets and sexy chocolate.
We can make it work.
Yeah.
Then we'll get Anthony and Earl in here too. That's the next line. But to get the next level emojis, this is actually not a false. This is a fact. We need more members. We only unlock certain emojis when we reach certain membership thresholds. So if you want to see a Boogie emoji, an Earl emoji, an Ant emoji, become a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show for $1.99. It gets you a starters tier membership for $4.99 a month. That's less than $5 per month, less than $60 for an entire year. You get all those same starter tier perks plus overtime videos. Today we're talking about the Bucks going down 3-1, Draymond's comments, and the fact that the LeBron James Lakers are one win away from advancing to the second round of the playoffs.
Hurts my heart.
Spectacular how they do that year after year. LeBron remains undefeated in that sense. Do we have tag board working? Yes. We'll see it one time, Anthony.
All right, here's the
Figured
way
it out.
Ezekiel Elliott's career ended.
Look,
It's
just
sad.
Cold.
look, look.
Oh,
Oh my goodness, there's nothing you could do. He couldn't
oh
reset
my
his feet
God,
or
what
nothing.
happened to Virgil?
Hey, Boogie, question. And Steve, keep this up. When coaches put in plays, maybe trick plays during the week,
Oh,
do you sometimes know, like, hey, there's no way in hell this is going to work?
Absolutely, but you try not to step on toes. You looking at the paper, you take a double look. Like, where did he come up with this? This isn't Madden. You can't just. This isn't Madden. But we don't get paid to draw plays and concepts. We just get paid to go out there and run it. So,
What's the craziest trick play you've seen?
oh wait.
You've seen your team practice.
Oh, that's a good one.
wasn't that one?
No, I've seen us try to run a left tackle screen.
What?
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
So the left tackle has to report as eligible.
yeah. I think he fake blocks and then he takes a step back and catch it, but it didn't. He got lit up. He got lit up. You know.
Did he catch it?
He caught it, but no yards, no anything. We worked on that play all week, and we thought we finally had us. Oh, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. We're gonna catch him off guard. And yeah,
Kevin Stefanski.
1 yard game.
Don't you dare. Stefanski, don't you dare. I'm
Hey,
not playing with you.
I advocated last year. I think there should be a package of plays for Myles Garrett. I'd like to see him line up as a
he
tight
deserves
end.
it.
I'd like to see him line up in the backfield. The dude is an athlete. Why wouldn't you use him in a mismatch situation, particularly as a tight end? I think he would be ridiculous.
I was upset. I said, no, Myles Garrett, that's the reason we don't let you go to the Pro Bowl no more. You always dislocating stuff. You too athletic for your own good.
That's a good point.
He just jumped too high. He too fast. You running around. He's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm
Can
going
you
to retire.
imagine, though, a corner or, anybody other than a linebacker, they see him come in and line up as a tight end. I'm sure they'd be looking at each other fighting like, I'm not.
You get him.
I'm not. I don't have him. You take him.
Well, somebody's losing their job. Let's say Myles Garrett goes to the X receiver. He runs a curl route.
Right.
Gets hurt.
That's
Somebody's losing their job. He
That's
gets
where I
hurt.
was going.
You get-
That's where I was
He
going.
gets hurt now. He can't rush quarterbacks. Now Myles is hurt because he wants to play receiver.
He could get-
we
he
pay
could
him
get hurt
$20 million to. I'd
got-
rather him get hurt,
Doing
bending
what
the
he's supposed
edge,
to
doing
do.
what he's supposed to
Right.
be doing,
Yeah.
rather than.
You got a $15 million tight end or whatever it is. You let him go out there and run
By the
those
way,
routes.
Andy Reid can get it off. Like he can.
Kevin Stefanski can't.
Stefanski, because we're gonna try. Listen, they will be outside of his office with signs and pickets and torches and TV
Hell no,
torches.
we won't go. They all out
Wouldn't
there.
it
all
be fun
type
to
of
watch,
stuff.
though? I'd watch him line up as a running back. on goal line.
You would, but you pay him $20 million to rush
I
the
still,
passer.
man, I want to see him. I want to see that.
And somebody's going low.
Oh, for sure.
And here's the thing.
Everybody's going low.
Everybody's going low.
He's out
Nobody
there-
going
he's out
high.
there playing basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get hurt playing basketball.
We told him we don't want that neither. Listen, come on. This is not a joke. This is crazy. Myles Garrett flipped his car 1,000 times.
He did what?
He flipped his car 1,000
training
times.
camps.
A car? Like,
Yeah, like a Porsche.
Rolled
Flipped
it.
it, rolled
Rolled
it,
his Porsche.
destroyed it. He got out of the car and was like dinged up. He was injured, but then still played the whole season. Who gets out of a car that looked like the Avengers had just destroyed it?
It rolled.
It rolled. And this
Many
guy,
times.
he still played. Like, I'm like, bro, what are you made out of? He talked about it. He dislocated his toe. Listen, I broke my toe once, and I cried like a child. This guy he messed his toe up. Be like, yeah, I'm just not gonna play no more. I'm like, bro, you too strong for your own good, bro. You just crazy, bro.
Did we ever on the show talk about his comments the other day about the obstacle course at the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, like
Did that come up on the show? Because I was in the gym working out and I listened to his comments and I'm like, whoa, that's gonna get some traction.
He went scorched earth on the Pro Bowl, and because we're talking Browns,
He
it's a
did.
good time to remind you guys real quick that Lincoln Electric is hiring for all great jobs in the manufacturing and welding field. If you guys need a job, check out Lincoln Electric. Our good friends over with Lincoln Electric are hiring for great jobs. We also talked about Myles Garrett saying his motto for next year is, I just want to have fun. So we kind of went into him on yesterday.
Like
Ripped
Cyndi
into him
Lauper?
on that.
Speaking of jobs, this is crazy. I don't know how this works. So when you guys do the USFL, what do you do in the offseason? Do you just amateurize your money and be like, okay, I got this amount of money, I'm not about to go crazy? Or do some people just do that and go get jobs? How does it work?
I feel like it depends on everybody's situation. Is different because some people leave here and they got 2-3 kids to take care of, and when that lump sum of money stops coming in, you had spending habits during the season. Like you can't. You was eating Ruth Chris and Steakhouse and Morton's every day during the season. Now you seeing when Burger King gonna bring back that 3 for $5. You
The
get what
3
I'm
for
saying?
$5 is devastating.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me.
Yeah. So.
3 for $5.
To each his own. It depends how you save and how the habits that you've created. But like myself, like I've got into like acting and stuff like that, do acting, commercials and things like that. I know some guys, they keep their jobs. They're like, oh, can you give me 3-4 months to go chase my dream? Then I'll come back. So everybody's situation is different.
I can see you acting. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got some commercials.
What you been in?
Yeah, had a Super Bowl commercial. Got to work with Rihanna for Apple for the last Super Bowl, and then
What?
I played. It was It was a Fox commercial. I played Larry Little for the 50th anniversary of the Miami Dolphins tribute. That both of them just came out a couple months ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, did some stuff in
got
a
some
show called
clip-
All American.
You have
Where's
an
the
agent
clips?
that gets you these castings?
Yeah, I have two agents. I have two agents that get me all these things.
at Boogie.
I got some stuff with North Face that's coming out in about a month. So, we got a bunch of stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys got to find the Rihanna.
I love
Oh, I got it all. It's all on my page, man. I'm saying we got to. Yeah.
He won't sue us, so we can put it on tag board. So he owns
Wow.
it.
Yeah, you got it.
Boogie, I knew there was something special about you the first time when we had you on the show a couple weeks ago.
I didn't know you guys.
Stop.
I didn't know you guys didn't know that.
I
but
did
yeah.
not know that about you. No.
Hey, no, I was
had no
going.
idea.
You know me, I'll be hustling. I'm gonna find out. I'm like, listen, what y'all got going on? Oh, you in there? That's the first thing you said. You should have said when you came on. Forget all this cash talk.
I know Rihanna.
I know Rihanna.
So that,
I saw her. I was close enough to smell her perfume. I know what kind of. That's kind of creepy. But we're gonna find this.
Boogie, what kind of commercial was it?
It was for Apple because they did the halftime show. So it's all of us are singing like her song "Stay."
Oh, you know what? I remember that commercial.
Yeah. We're like I represented the Rams for mine. I was a Rams fan. They brought like super fans from each team. Like there was a Browns.
I remember
person.
that commercial. Yeah, I remember. It was actually pretty creative.
Yeah, everybody loved it because they were like, "Wow, this is great."
Can we see your face?
You have a couple of parts, yeah, for sure.
We gotta get this on.
Yeah.
Forget the rest.
I'm trying to look
And
for it
then I
right
had
now.
to shave
Hold
my
on.
beard for the Larry Little one because
He didn't have one.
They didn't have one back in the
Yeah.
day, so I had to wear. They had to put a little Jerry curl on everything. Yeah, got all those pictures, man. Yeah,
Larry
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
You're Larry Little's body double.
yeah.
This is
that was-
crazy.
So Boogie, text me the picture. We'll throw it up on tag.
You know what's
All right, got
next
you.
is like you get a slot in a series or in a show.
Oh, that's Facts. Oh.
Show that to the camera.
Hey,
Show that to the camera.
This is crazy. We got to get it on his Instagram.
I got to send it to you.
We'll
right?
send
Yeah, have him texting me. We'll put it on tag.
All right, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Because there's a dude, what's the comedian that used to play for the Bears? He was a defensive lineman.
Not Spears, but
what's his name?
Comedian?
He's a comedian. He do them
I think
skits.
the dude was like a ha. I know you.
Ha ha. What's
a ha. I know you talking about.
So there's a guy who used to play for the Bears, and he was a defensive lineman. So he started doing all of these skits on Instagram and YouTube. And he gets millions of hits because he'd be like, yeah, I'm about to go out here and I'm about to go out here and get me a sandwich. It's about to be a breeze.
Yeah, I know exactly. I just can't think of his.
And a bunch of stuff just start happening. He was like, I just came for a sandwich. It's crazy. You check him out. I think it's Ha something. But Ha Davis, that's his name. I was like, man, so he definitely has. Shout out to you.
Now,
bro.
have you gone on any calls for like roles in a TV series or anything like that yet?
So that's the next goal. So I just started doing this about 3-4 months ago, and it blew up. Like I was so shocked. It's been a blessing. And that's the reason I got into it, because after last season, the phone didn't ring like I thought it was to go to the next level, and I was just in a very dark place, like questioning everything. I wasn't eating, going outside. I had to find something else that brought me happiness.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm great in front of a camera. The show All American was having a casting call. At the time, they just wanted football players, but they had actors out there trying to do football stuff. I'm like, I can go do this.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
I met the director. She was like, wow, I love you. I actually want to bring you on as one of his core teammates to be like on camera all the time. So that happened, and then I just started reaching out to commercial agents, and I was able to sign with 2 of them, and they push you out for jobs, but that's just more on the commercial side of things. When I go back home next time, if I'm not back in the NFL, I'm going to be trying to get a theatrical agent. And that's who sends you roles for TV shows and movies and things like that. So I got my vision board. I look at it every morning, and that's one of the things on my vision board is to sign with a theatrical agent so I could just keep pushing. That's
awesome, man. That is really cool. When you're on some big HBO show and you're a star, you're coming back on the show, right?
You guys gave me my first opportunity. If you tell me to be in Cleveland, if I have to fly Spirit, I will be out here. Hey, they charge you $200 for a carry-on bag, but I will be out here. I might have to stay on one of them couches, but I will be right here. Yeah.
Stop playing around with that carry-on feed.
Oh, that
you ought to
is
be
so
great.
good.
Listen, JetBlue.
I might have to fly Spirit.
I just might.
As if that's the worst thing in the world, which is pretty
close.
close.
What it is you see the prices and you're like, wow.
Yeah,
$18?
And
$18 for me to go to Columbia?
That's crazy.
Hey, I'm going. But then you look.
It'll be 18 layovers.
Yeah,
remember those
6-hour
plastic
layover, $100 for a bottle of water.
Yep.
Yeah.
$200 per pound for your bag. You like, gee. Next thing you know, that 18 turned into a $600 flight one way. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, I got snookered. And their chairs are like the old hard plastic school chairs.
Oh, God.
Like, how can you can't make a chair that uncomfortable if you try.
They try and make it as uncomfortable on you as possible.
I think they do. They really do. What's up, McNuggets?
It is 12:30, which means it's time to remind everybody that the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Kaulig Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. In about 10 minutes, we're going to play a brand new game with Boogie, the Hollywood star, USFL star. Listen, if I knew he was in a commercial with Rihanna, I'd maybe have stepped up the game a little bit, but I still think it's gonna hit. But for about 10, 15 minutes here, guys, real quick. The Guardians announced that Manny Ramirez will be inducted into the Hall of Fame later this summer. So my question for you guys today is, should the Guardians retire Ramirez is number 24?
I'm a hard no on that, but is there a yes on the panel?
I think they should do Kenny Lofton before they get to Manny.
I'm with you. I think, and outside of Kenny Lofton, I think the next number they should retire should be Jose's. And follow my logic. If you look at the guys that have their numbers retired, now I know that the game was much different. The players were not nearly as transient as they are now. Mm-hmm. Guys played their entire careers with one team. Now that's nobody does that. Like when Derek Jeter retired, you literally were thinking, is this going to be the last guy that starts and ends a Hall of Fame career with one team? And they certainly don't do that in Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
Manny took $50 million less than he could have. The Blue Jays' reported offer was worth much more than what the Guardians' offer was. I think that retiring a player's number should be reserved for a guy like Jose Ramirez, who had an opportunity to leave. All of them left from that 90s core team. all of them left at some point. Bell left. Ramirez was here 8 years. He left. Even Jim Thome left. I thought Thome might be the guy that decided he would stay here. So I want Jose Ramirez's number to be retired. I just don't think Manny, 8 years, 8 great years, particularly his last 2, but I don't know. I don't see it.
This is a legacy move. Anybody that was around 95, 96, 97, they automatically is on the board. They just because like who they is. Like you got Albert Bell. Like when you talk about that team, right? Kenny Lofton, he should have already been up there. He should have already been there. To me, Sandy Alomar, Vizquel, Manny, Albert Bell. I'm trying to think of anybody else that probably would get it at that point. Other than that, those 4, to me.
Kenny Lofton, to me, he had 3 different stints here.
Yeah,
fans loved him.
I mean, that was the show.
But you know what? The one caveat to me is no World Series.
Yeah.
None. Like most of the guys that had their numbers retired, like Frank Robinson was historical. He was the first black manager.
Yep.
He wasn't a player here of any note. He spent his career with the Baltimore Orioles. All of those guys won championships and played their careers in Cleveland. I think all of them, their entire careers. Bob Feller, obviously. You talk about an American hero. Here's a guy that in the height of his prime went to the Iowa recruiting station on December 8th, 1941, and signed up to go fight the Japanese in World War II.
Yeah.
And missed 4 years in the height of his prime. That's the kind of stuff you reserve retiring a player's number for. Albert Bell?
Could you tell? So I look at it like this. Can you tell the history of the Cleveland Indians without mentioning Albert Bell?
I don't think you can.
No.
I don't think you
No,
can.
I don't think you can either, but is that the test?
Well, yeah, because that means like for that era, for that to me, there's a generation of people who, when you say Cleveland Indians, you say Lofton, Bell, Baerga, Sandy Alomar,
Ramirez,
Thome. That's it, all of them. Like I can't have, like when I see Jim Thome, I'm like, where the rest of the gang at? Because for us, that was the greatest baseball we've seen in our lives.
Yeah,
Albert Bell was transcended. He played the game of baseball with an intimidation factor that I've never seen.
Yeah.
Pitchers were literally scared. Now, this today, pitchers were literally scared to throw the baseball. They said, listen, I want to parse with Albert Bell. And he playing baseball, but like he was boxing or something. Kenny Lofton, when you talk about he was revolutionized the way people watch. You would watch him not only for how many stolen bases, for not only what he did with the bat, but his glove.
Robbing home runs.
Manny Ramirez, we would say, yo, Manny could hit home runs. He was the baby bull, and he had a cannon. He would throw you out from right field standing.
I have such a bitter taste in my mouth that crew never won.
Yeah, it sucks.
And so
I cried.
1, 2, and 3 in the history of the Indians and Guardians and home runs are Thome, Bell, and Ramirez. Okay? Mm-hmm. Thome, Bell, and Ramirez. The 3 of them combined to hit over 800 home runs just here. Now, they played more of their seasons outside of Cleveland than they did here.
Right.
Those 3 combined for 800 home runs. They never won a World Series. By the way, to show you where this team is now, those 3 hit more home runs
That's crazy.
than the Guardians/Indians have hit in the last 5 seasons combined as a team together. And they didn't win a World Series. And to me, that's the check mark. That's more of an indictment than an endorsement.
But if you look at it, Jason, when they went up against the Atlanta Braves, to me, is that not the greatest pitching rotation of all time?
It is in the modern era. But here's another thing: that Braves team, for all of its greatness and for all of their multiple National League East Division titles, They only won one World Series, and it was against us.
That's
And,
crazy.
I haven't written the story yet. I really got to write the Bell story.
Yeah, I was going to ask how that's going.
Yeah, I need to get on it and just knock it out. But Albert will tell you the reason the Braves won is because the home plate umpire, regardless of who it was giving him 6 inches off the plate.
It was the worst umpiring for any series in the playoffs that I've ever seen.
And he said the one game when they made Glavine, when they weren't giving it to Glavine, is when they hit him. So to Albert, the reason they lost that series is because
how it was called.
The home plate umpires were giving him 6 inches off the plate.
I will completely second that. It sounds like sour grapes.
It does.
But the facts are the facts. They're unchangeable. That team did not win a World Series despite having 3 of the greatest power hitters
ever.
Statistically, the 3 greatest power hitters this franchise has ever seen, and they were all there together for a number of years, and they did not win a World Series. That's an indictment.
Well, they were only all together really 95 and 96. Because then Bell left. Really, they only had the 2 years.
Yeah, Bell left.
Wait, Bell was gone in 97? He wasn't.
He left after 96.
He was playing for the White Sox.
He left after 96. 96 was his last year. So really, they had the lockout in 94.
Yeah.
They had 95 together in the series. They had 96, which was
94. I felt they were
right
as
there.
good as anybody.
They were
in 94.
a game and a half out of first place in 94,
Yep.
and 96 was just a bitter loss to the Orioles.
That's still
95 and 97 stand out. 96 is probably worse to me
because they lost to the Orioles. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. Out of nowhere.
By 97, Bell was gone and Lofton was gone in 97.
Baerga was gone after 95, right?
Baerga, they traded Baerga, I think, in the middle of 96.
I wasn't even born yet. Jesus
because Sean Dunston was their second baseman, right? In 97, wasn't he? Or no, Fernandez.
No.
Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez, yep.
With the home run. Yeah.
He made the error in the Game 7 in Florida against the Marlins.
But think about that. Bell leaving and how that changed. That's the reason they traded Lofton was because Bell left as a free agent. And they couldn't take the chance of losing Kenny as well.
And he was Marquise Grissom straight up, wasn't it?
Yep.
And Justice.
They got
Grissom and Justice for Kenny.
And they played very well. They played well when they got here.
Man. Yeah, it's just I'm not for retiring his number.
And plus there's a difference between, they're already putting him in the Hall of Fame. So
is he coming back? Manny?
Who knows?
It's scheduled for August 19th. I just wonder. I was talking to some of the folks at the Guardians at spring training about Albert Bell not showing up when he was put in.
You know why he didn't show?
Well, you told me that he has issues with the organization and how they treat Latin American players. And
oh no, well,
or was that someone else that told me that?
That was a different thing.
Okay.
Albert didn't show up because John Hart was there. And to this day, he is so angry and bitter toward John Hart that
why?
Because John wouldn't give him the contract he wanted. And I'll get into this in the story, but he and I went round and round during our 2 hours together because I'm like, Albert, he was just following the orders of ownership. That's not John's call. That's ownership saying this is the amount I'm willing to go. And Albert said, well, then they should have brought Dick Jacobs into that meeting because to this day, Albert holds it against John Hart that he didn't give him the money.
Well, does Albert have a point when you're talking about your franchise player? Does he have a point that let's bring Dick Jacobs into this?
Probably that Dick probably should have been part of.
I think that's a fair point.
They did it with Paul Dolan and Jose.
Yes.
They brought Paul in.
You're the closer
the
at that point.
Do you think?
And sometimes the words of an organization, when they come directly from the mouth of the owner, have so much more weight than if they're relayed through and through and through. First of all, I've always viewed it as a sign of disrespect. If the owner can't get involved, particularly when it's the star player and the star player wants that, show up.
Albert was also angry about Eddie Murray and the fact that they cut Eddie Murray.
Oh, really?
They cut Eddie's salary.
And
he was really and Eddie was really upset about that too.
Yeah.
That's Eddie stopped playing first base and said, "Well, then I'm only a DH."
Yeah.
Well, I look at the Dolans. The Dolans buy the team, right? You have to think that they have to feel a certain type of way. Hold on. You guys don't give us no benefit of the doubt. It's almost like they wear the scarlet letter for the Jacobs dismantling the team, right? You got to think about it. There's people who, to this day, will not get over it. They're like, I can't believe they dismantled the best team I've ever seen. we lost player after player, year after year. And then it got to the Dolans, and it was like, well, hey, we didn't do that. That was Dick Jacobs and his crew.
I'm trying to remember the timing because I think they bought at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
Bell had already left. But Manny and Tomey both left on the Dolan's watch,
right.
if memory serves.
Right.
But the timing was awful for them in terms of, I mean, Dick Jacobs was a genius. Like, made a ton of money off the franchise and got out at exactly the right time.
And then
He bought at the right time.
And then Jacobs Field is known as, like, they had the best ballpark. Everybody said Jacobs Field.
Yeah.
How was this small market team? They have this lineup that is as good as the Big Red Machine. They got everything you need, and then all of a sudden you get a new ownership group, and it's like,
we can't afford these
We
salaries.
can't afford that.
The Jacobs brothers are hailed for saving baseball in Cleveland, and rightfully so.
They did.
They did. But they were also, talk to anyone who was around, they were very shrewd businessmen who were only going to spend whatever was brought in, and not a dollar more.
And at the time, we was bringing in some cash.
But that's why Bell left.
Well,
they
bought it when, like 86?
Oh gosh, you're testing me now.
I want to think it was like the fall of '86, and it was the perfect time to buy. The whole idea of buying is buying low and selling high. What they did here, you're right, was business genius. They bought a franchise that many thought was on the verge of leaving.
Yeah.
Because the stadium was a relic. Mm-hmm. They were where the Oakland A's are now.
Yeah.
Because if you think about how cavernous the Oakland Stadium is, Municipal Stadium was built to host the 1920 Olympics or whatever year it was, 32 Olympics, I think. It was this big, round, Olympic-type stadium, and it was the last thing you want to do in there is play baseball. And they were losing 100 games a year, and the Jacobs brothers waltz in, buy the team, and then through some very shrewd moves, draft well, and then they bet on all of these young kids at the same time. The Baergas, the Bells, the Tomeys, the Ramirez, they were all in. They signed them to longer-term contracts than baseball was doing. That was all John Hart. And then when they reached the point where they could leave town, Dick Jacobs said, I'm out. Because I don't want to take the hit for all of these guys leaving.
And on top of it, they got the opportunity to move from the AL East, which was devastating.
Oh,
This is
man.
huge.
You was playing Boston. You was playing
New York.
They go
Toronto.
Now you go to the Central, and you're like, oh, we only got the White Sox.
That was a gift.
Yeah,
it
was.
would take that.
Yeah.
It really was.
That was a gift.
And to put a bow on all of it, the team would have left had Gateway not passed. Gateway
100%.
saved the team, and the only reason Gateway passed is because the Cavs moved from Richfield to Cleveland. Gordon Gunn made an unbelievable deal for himself, and the only reason they got involved is because Mike White, the mayor at the time, really wasn't interested in building another stadium. He didn't really care about sports. But when he was sold on the idea of bringing an arena to downtown Cleveland that could be filled 300 nights a year, whatever it is, that is what got him interested in it. Otherwise, that thing would have it barely passed as it was. The whole thing would have fallen apart.
And all of that, by the way, played a role in the Browns leaving.
Absolutely.
So it's funny how the history
connected.
of all three of these teams are all interwoven. Go ahead, Mike.
I got to remind you guys one more time that the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show's Lunch Hour is sponsored by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. Before we play our Boogie special game, we have some Boogie special pictures from his acting. I'm not sure if it's his debut. But, Boogie, you want to walk us through this one? And we got one more after. We can't play the video for copyright purposes. But tell us the two pictures. This looks like you're getting ready for the shoot.
This is behind the scenes. It's freshly shaved. I hadn't shaved my beard in like 8 years, so I was hurting inside. But
you look like you're dead inside in that picture.
It's a little phase on love in
Hey, all for a paycheck, though, bro. That's,
It's
oh, man. Getting my little fake wig, Jerry curl put on there, the costumes and makeup, doing a great job there. So that's what that picture's got. I don't know, is that a real mustache? No, that's my mustache. Yeah, that's a real mustache and things like that.
And what did you do? What was your role that you were, tell everybody what you were doing?
I played, Jesus Christ, here we go. I played Larry Little. It was a tribute to the 1972 Miami Dolphins team. It was the 50th year anniversary.
The last undefeated team.
For the only team in NFL history to have a perfect season. So they wanted to do just a tribute, and we just did like a locker room scene of when they won the Super Bowl, just in remembrance to Don Shula and things like that. So that's what that is. I was blessed to be able to. This is a Fox commercial, so I did my audition in my USFL jersey. I knew I was gonna get it. Wasn't no way.
Oh yeah, because they own
the USFL.
Yeah.
So I said, wait a minute, I'm going to do it in my USFL football jersey. Boom. The next day, agent hit me up like, they want you. Lock it in. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
that was that
And you
one.
cried the whole time you were shaving your beard.
It was a whole thing. You know, I text my agent like, can we get him to raise the pay? You know, I'm shaving the beard. This is a big deal. This is hazard pay. This is hazard pay. This is hurting me. This hurt. This is my look right here, you know? So
That's great.
So she like, let me see. They come back. No, the offer is the offer. Do you want it or not? I'm like, damn, I still take it.
Yeah, what the hell?
So there we go.
Hey, if it launches a career, it launches a
Oh, yeah,
career.
it's
Was
gonna
that
launch,
your first
yeah.
gig?
Oh, because I got those back to back because they were both for Super Bowl. So I think I did that one first, and then the Apple one after that, and then I did some stuff with KT Tape. It's a sports taping brand. And
Yep, I'm very familiar.
Got some, the North Face thing is coming out. So they're like five projects.
That's awesome,
within
man.
like 3-4 months.
That's great.
Along with doing a TV show called All American. So it's been picking up. So then
That's
hopefully
really
when I hit
cool.
the ground, get back home, hit the ground running.
That's
And
great,
All Americans on Netflix, correct?
It's on Netflix, but it's a CW show, so it airs on CW every week, and then it goes on Netflix about a month or two after the season ends.
All right, I have to check that
Beautiful.
out. All right, so to explain this game to us, I think you're going to love this.
This is great.
Yeah,
I think
Boogie,
you're
you
gonna
know,
really love this.
we appreciate guests coming in studio. Remote guests are awesome.
I'm family now.
You are.
He-
You're part of
he-
the
more
USS
fun
he-
family.
when you're here.
he's
Part of
like,
the
no,
UCSS
don't try to play
family.
me.
He's got his swag. He's going to sign the Wall of Fame before he leaves. Everyone get your whiteboards. Get your markers.
We don't have to spell,
I created
do
a
we?
game. It's called Did Boogie Really Tweet That?
Oh,
So,
this is
Boogie, what
great.
I did was I went back through your tweet archives, through the last 10 years of your tweet archives. I got this idea.
It was
from my
tough, though, because
friend.
I ain't too big on the tweets and things like that, so I know I ain't have no dirt in there. So here we go. I'm ready.
No, so what
Yeah.
we did was, and I got this idea from my friend Leah. Shout out Leah for being more creative than me, but I stole the idea. We're going to do it here. We went back through the archives, Boogie, and there's 8. There's some fake ones and some real ones. We're going to see if you could remember what you tweeted, and we're going to see how good I can do impersonating Boogie as a tweeter. So, Steve, play the music. I'm going to read you a tweet. You're going to give me a real or fake, not true or false.
Real or
a
fake?
real if you really think Boogie tweeted this.
It's
or
real
fake,
and it's spectacular.
or fake if you think the production team here came up with the Boogie
Am
tweet.
I right,
and
too?
we are
Because
keeping score.
shouldn't I know if it's real
You
or fake?
should, but you might not remember. Did I really tweet that?
Jesus Christ.
So I mean, I would expect you to get
McNuggets
all
to his-
8 of these right.
Okay, McNuggets, the history teacher, huh? Here we go.
Yeah,
Going
let's
back in
do
time.
it.
Let's
Let's go.
All right, so let's start the first initial game of Did Boogie Tweet That? Question 1, or I guess tweet 1. This USFL XFL football beef is getting good. Fire emoji, guitar emoji. Real tweet or fake Boogie tweet?
Well, hey, they trying to cheat. Hey, they cheating. Hey, look, hey,
I looked right over to see what he's gonna write because you better get all 8 of these right.
Well,
Although
certainly
you know what, if
this one.
someone did this to me, I would guarantee I would miss some
No, I will get these.
because I used to
Do not,
tweet a
Boogie,
lot.
don't turn your board around yet. We're gonna let everyone else
Yeah,
reveal
yeah.
their
You
answers
hold
first.
you hold fire. We'll answer together. Ready?
I'm already in. I'm already locked
I'm saying
in.
that's 100%
Real for Jay.
I could see
Real
Boogie.
for
I could
G.
see Boogie saying that
Jason
and tweeting
says,
You definitely
I
said
can't
that,
read from
dog.
that side.
Real.
Jason says,
Real.
You said
Boogie,
that.
do you remember tweeting this, or did I make it up?
dun dun dun. This tweet is in fact
Real.
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 Yeah.
Here's the proof. We
I-
can take it
we
on
got it
tag
right.
board. The tag board will show us.
There
when
we
a
go.
tweet
There
is
we go.
real.
So what were they beefing about at that time? Do you remember?
Just the spring league viewership, and the fans are just, there's fans of the XFL and there's fans of the USFL. They're trying to tear each other down when it's, in theory, we should be bringing each other up. You know,
You're right,
this
you're
is
right. Yeah.
a lot of jobs for players and medias and coaches giving guys second and third
Sure,
chances
it's
and things
great.
like this. So, you know, sometimes the fans, they just, our league is better, so they be going.
Why
at it.
was that? Why would they not start at the same time and then do a Super Bowl?
like
that is-
like the old
that-
AFL and NFL?
Yeah,
That is
that'd be
above,
dope.
that is above my pay grade.
Hey, listen,
but that
no,
would be
no,
dope.
you're onto something though. The USFL champs should play the XFL
Let's
champs.
say, like, what are we talking
Now
about? here?
let's settle this beef
yeah.
for real.
I always want to do, you know, there's a lot of like great players in both leagues. I think we should do like, I don't know if you used to watch SmackDown versus Raw. They used
Oh, what
they used
you
to host,
mean?
they used to host a draft.
What you
And you never knew
mean?
where you were going to get drafted.
That's pretty
yeah,
interesting.
that's what we should do.
And so let me ask you this question, because people be asking outrageous questions. If you guys played, say for instance, Ohio State, would you win?
Our professional team playing the college?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your team right now played Ohio State, would you guys win? Would that be a close game?
We definitely would win. We're professionals, you know. Everybody on that on those teams are hoping to get to the NFL. If they don't, then to a lesser degree a spring league. But we have guys that's already there. Guys on our team that's won Super Bowls, has been to the highest level. But Ohio State is amazing. That's a different level ball club. So I'm sure they might put up a fight, but I would hope to think that we would beat them.
Yeah, because some of the people from Ohio State is going to the workforce.
Yeah,
they're not doing nothing but going to work.
Well, it's
after
true.
that.
Maybe 20% of the Buckeyes roster will play professional football.
Right.
And to your point, all of you guys have reached that point. I would watch, though.
I would watch it.
What's number 2?
Number 2, from @Boogie the Goat 8. Whoever drafts me is getting a dog, for real, for real. Did Boogie tweet that? Did we make that up?
Man, this sounds like a white dude wrote this. I don't know. That for real with the emoji. That's kind of shaky, dog. No, you didn't say that.
I'm going fake.
I'm going fake.
Jay says fake. Jason says fake. G usually talks himself out of it, so I think he's gonna go real.
Nope.
He goes fake. Boogie.
You lost. You know what? You lost me with that. What is that? A blowing wind emoji? I don't think I kind of know the emojis I use, so I'm going fake.
Yeah.
But he's not positive.
He's not confident.
Come on, board.
The
Did
reveal.
I say that?
It is fake.
Yep.
It is fake.
Yep. Hey, listen. Brothers know.
For real, that is a total white dude.
No, that's not where you lost it though, because I actually for real is big nowadays.
It's big now, but
I
it
use
wasn't
for real
big when
a
you
lot.
were coming out.
You're right, but that emoji, that blowing air, he lost me at that emoji.
Well, what got me was like the for real is a thing now. He's been out for a couple years.
Yeah, got you.
I don't think that was a thing a couple years ago.
And then they used the meteorologist blowing wind.
What did that have to do with me being a dog? That ain't,
that's
come on, McNuggets.
Just blowing wind in
I
people's
just looked at
ears.
the email. I wanted the angry emoji of like the mouth, like angry
Oh,
blowing
so now
the
he's
wind,
blaming
not the
somebody
speed
who
blowing.
put that.
That's right.
Oh yeah, blame somebody. I got you.
Wrong meteorological emoji.
All right, next one. Tweet 3. You ready, Steve? Tonight I'm yelling Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow. Hashtag money heist.
This is strange.
Got a cheater. Look, oh Jesus Christ!
Every time.
You're peeking.
Every chance.
Let me look at your face.
Do you see that?
Did you write it down already?
Yeah,
My
he
answer's
did.
here.
You're down already.
I couldn't see it. I tried.
You might be cultured. I don't know what Bella Ciao means because you got the Balenciagas on right now. So
Please don't give up the sauce, man. That's why I'm hiding behind the table, man. I want to make it out of here. Don't give up the
Jay
sauce.
says it's real.
I'm going real too.
Jason says
Real.
real. Y'all 3 say real. Boogie, real.
Damn, you know, I don't know if you guys watch this show, but it's a huge Netflix hit, and this is the theme. This is a song that they. What are you erasing?
No, I got it right.
Okay,
I got
so
it
yes,
right.
this is
Yeah.
real. A Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, 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 dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. A Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao.
So we're
Ciao,
all
Ciao.
three. Nobody's missed yet.
Yeah.
So far, it's all 3-0.
You guys know me.
Yeah, I feel like I do.
Yeah, this
I
is
feel like
family. I
do,
told
Boogie.
you this was destined.
Yeah, I feel like I do know
Come
you.
on, McNugget, hit him with something. I know
All
you
right,
got
tweet
something
number
back there.
4. Steve, take it. SGBG Myth, Temple of Keys, 4th Street, LGBG will be going crazy tonight. Even Jack in a Box will be lit. 100 emoji, party emoji.
I don't think there's any way McNuggets could make that up. I don't know what half of it means, but I don't think he could make it up.
That's the most-
Nuggets could have found another tweet that somebody else actually wrote.
Yeah.
This is some old South Central Watts type stuff. Some old
Are
rolling.
you from LA?
Yes, sir.
This some old rolling 60s undercover stuff. No, he's not part of it. Listen, we don't want no problems. We don't have gangs in Ohio, so you're good. They don't got them in Pittsburgh either.
I'm not going to change my answer. I wrote true.
So G.
when
Bush
in
says
fact
real,
it's
Jay
real.
says real, Jason says real. Boogie, do you remember tweeting this?
Absolutely, this is real.
Yep.
This was after San Jose State had finally won the Mountain West Championship game, and all those places are college bars right there on the same street that would be going crazy.
And I bet they were going
They
crazy.
probably were going nuts, and then this Jack in the Box is the place everybody go afterwards, so that would turn into a party after the club.
The after hours.
Yeah.
So why? So everybody is really big on Jack in the Box. They're huge on Jack in the Box out there. I'm trying to figure out why.
Because it's open.
That's
It's
it.
there. It's
Yeah,
there.
like
You know.
people,
It
I'm
is
like,
definitely
You don't got too many
it's
options
overrated.
at 2:33 in the morning. You drunk, you Jack in the Box. You know is dependable. So
Now, do you know the cheat code at Jack in the Box? Like, there's a is it the monster or double?
That's in and out.
It's in and out.
that's
You're right.
the in and
You're
out,
right.
and people
Yeah,
be
in
going
and out.
crazy over that.
it's
Too.
between In-N-Out and they be like In-N-Out or Whataburger. That's their
Yeah.
whole little debate. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
We're all 4-0 so
Steve,
far.
take it. Those post-game wings hit different after a dub. I'ma house 20 of these easy. Real tweet, fake tweet.
It's wings now. It's wings. I can eat.
I think you're trying to throw me off the trail.
I think he's trying to throw me off too because I think Boogie could kill more than 20 wins.
Oh wow.
So here's what I'm going with.
This might be the
locked in.
one that we miss.
Here's
Jay, what do you say?
I said fake.
Jay
said
says
fake.
fake.
I say, guess what? I say fake because you got drumstick emojis. Why you got drumstick emojis?
And I'm an all flat guy, baby. I like flats.
yes, sir.
All flats, well done. So that's
Hey,
fake.
hey, yes, sir.
Fake it in a $3 bill. McNuggets.
Hey,
See, we know you, man.
Yeah.
That's unreal. We're 5-0.
all flats, my brother,
Yeah.
is the way to
Yeah,
go.
flats are
and by
definitely
the,
the
and
I
way
by
to
the,
wonder where this trend came from, because it's like now
I
everybody's
know.
a big all flats, well done type of. You know what?
well, too, because you
Rick
get
Ross maybe, huh?
Oh my God!
Lemon
Stop
pepper,
it.
huh?
I'm gonna have to go get some.
Hey, right, so crazy. Wow, listen.
We got 3 more in
Okay.
5 minutes. I trust.
All
us.
right, let's speed race.
Next one. No, we got time.
Okay.
Real or fake? It's crazy it takes forever to get in shape, but only 3 days to lose it all. Laughing emoji.
Now, speaking from a fellow defensive lineman, I feel that's true.
First of all, that is fact.
That
is a fact.
If you, and especially if you have a
the
bad
question
Friday
is, did
night,
he say it?
did he say it?
And
Right.
I'm saying he did.
Yeah.
Real, G.
I'm about to go with real.
He's not sure if he's. Do you remember?
I don't
Real.
remember. I'm just trying to like figure out how do you guys
All
know
three
so
of them
well?
real.
Like we're
We
fat.
got it again?
Yes. Bingo.
You guys are good.
Bingo. This
guys
is
are
real. I
good.
remember. Yeah.
All right, very good.
You don't after the season. You don't work out for about a week. Everything you've done is
It feels like it's
out
gone.
the window.
I
And it takes
agree.
you so-
You'd be like, why?
Wait till you
Yeah.
get older.
They'd be like,
Oh, please don't
why is
speak
this?
It gets worse, man.
You'd be like, why is this 250, 275
Yeah.
feeling kind of?
yeah, bones popping and
Look like,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
no,
that's too. You're right. You
We're
have-
all
You guys are all
pitching a
6-0.
perfect
This is
game.
impressive. This is impressive.
Wow.
All right.
Two
Number
more.
7. That UNLV QB is going to have nightmares about me for weeks. LOL. Boy was running for his life for 60 mins. Real Boogie tweet?
See, I'm thinking
Boogie tweet.
I'm thinking that's real because that was back in the day where you got 140 characters, and he ran out at the end and just went mins instead of minutes.
I don't think a college player would be allowed to tweet about another player like that.
Jay
No,
says
they did.
real.
Uh-oh.
We have.
Jason says
We have.
And
a
guess
split.
what? We finally have broken our
Yes.
streak.
Am I the
Jesus,
only one
Jay.
to miss? I missed.
Jesus, Jay.
Damn.
That's fake, man. I ain't giving nobody no pub on my Twitter, man. Especially nobody from UNLV,
I
man.
told- like,
I ain't worried about
damn
that
it.
quarterback from UNLV, man.
Like, come on, man. And it's just a nondescript quarterback.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
even add him.
That boy gonna be running for his life. LOL. Come on, McNuggets.
That boy.
LOL.
Oh, I bought
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Bought it.
I
I
I thought we
know.
was going for a clean sweep.
I did too.
Christ.
I feel terrible because that's going to be the only
I
miss.
said, hey, Jason, I said
And we
that
got one
boy.
more.
He said,
Damn.
That boy, that quarterback
Last
running
one.
for his life. LOL.
this is the toughest one in my opinion.
so-
Could care less about the outsiders and naysayers. Feeling 100% confident about tomorrow. 100% emoji, fist emoji, hashtag bring on the power.
Do you got a black power fist right there? I don't understand that.
I mean, you kind of would hope McNuggets doesn't put the black.
Yeah.
Would he throw that out there?
I'm trying to bring on the power. What's that mean?
I'm going.
Jay says real.
I'm going real.
Jason says, Jason, turn him to me. I can't, you say real too.
Where you going with?
G?
He's not sure.
Man,
I
just
don't
G.
like the wording. I don't like the wording.
God,
And we
I
have a
have
winner.
faith in you, my brother, that you
We
can
have
go.
a winner. Let's see it.
It's
It is real.
It's real. Yeah, it's real. I knew it.
Which means
Yeah, I
Jason
remember.
Lloyd take
What
the
was that
People's Champion
before?
belt.
This was before we played San Diego State. People were saying we couldn't. They run power offense. They saying we couldn't stop the run and blah blah blah.
Oh,
they were talking
that's
smack
too
about
Jason.
us. They were talking smack about us, blah, 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 blah.
I don't ever win.
This the first time he done never got the belt. He done got the belt, buddy.
That's your spirit brother right there.
I like
It's a parade in my city, yeah.
I like to thank
It's a
the
parade in
Academy.
my city, yeah.
I like to thank Boogie for this award. I like to thank my agent, my wife for always standing behind
Talk
me.
about how you grew up. How tough was it growing up, man?
It was so hard growing up in Avon Lake.
It's a hard knot life.
It's so hard.
It's a hard knot life.
I went to community college.
Oh, man.
Boogie, that was fun, bro. That was a lot of fun,
Hey,
man.
Big Nuggets, good
You're
one.
coming in every Wednesday? Is that true? Is that a real
Tuesdays
story?
for right
Tuesday?
now, and then it may
We're gonna
change
try.
because some days when we have Saturday games.
Okay.
So we have different off days.
Depends on when your off day is.
Yep.
By the way,
You killed it, man. You absolutely killed it.
Thank you guys. It's my
really
first
good
time doing
stuff.
this too.
Really good stuff.
One more thing, if y'all been paying attention on the call, you'd have known the last one was real because Mikey said he made up 3, and we already had the 3 fakes, so I knew the last one
He
was real.
sure did.
I forgot. I messed up.
Dang.
He caught us
That's
slipping.
a loophole. You kind of cheated.
Hey, I'm a journalist. I
I
listen.
mean, he was cheating from looking over.
I was
I
not.
know
I
it
didn't see
was.
one answer.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't see
was.
It's an asterisk. It's a bubble championship.
But the last
it's a
one-
bubble championship.
I knew it
Boogie
was
the
real.
man.
The belt is
Overtime's
here, so
next.
we
We will
can't
see
take it
y'all
back.
in 6 minutes.